early, but oh well. Whoops. Hold on a second. There, got it. No feedback. I want to say hello to everybody. First, we had Catfishing Fresno in here 2 days ago. First one in. We have Dink Silver Stinks. We have Rustic Outdoors, 351 Cleveland. Linda Peterson. If y'all would, please share this out to your Facebook and your community tabs and social medias and get more people in here. Tonight we have Monty Sheets here with us with guard dog on duty, and we'll be going over some stuff with him on guard dogs, and we'll go over with him a little bit more before he got into guard dogs. Get to know Monty a little bit better. Welcome in, Dave Garcher. So, how are you doing tonight, Monty?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, Avin. Like I say, been kind of busy. We're getting ready for that expo coming up this weekend down there in Tennessee. If any of you in chat are coming to the Smoky Mountain Expo, be sure to stop by the booth, say hello. I'd love to meet you in person.
We got the Bullock Experience in here. We got Donald Long, and we got River Rat 3030.
Well, hey, River Rat. Hey, guys.
So we know a little bit about your guard dog expose that you got going on, what you're selling. So let's go back a little bit before guard dog.
Sounds good.
What got you really hooked on catfishing?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been catfishing since I've been, of course, old enough to hold a pole. My father loved fishing. Around this area, it was more catfish and carp, the generic type fish. Of course, we fished for some panfish along with bass and, some smallmouth, largemouth and stuff. But really, catfishing and carp is where I grew up. I grew up that way, basically on the river. We camped quite a bit. It's just been a love of mine since I've been a little boy.
We have Mike Sampson came in, Dominic Hollis.
Hey, Dominic. Hey, Mike.
Dominic Hollis says, I'll be seeing you there.
Sounds great.
We have Backlash Fisherman that came in. So what was the first big cat that really got you hooked on that tug?
You know what? I was about 9 years old, and we was fishing. Basically, we was at a campsite fishing overnight, and I can remember my first fish over 10 pounds. It was a 14-pound channel cat. Of course, I was fishing with a little Zebco, $9 fishing rod and reel with 10-pound test line on it, and it absolutely I fell in love.
And welcome in Seafost Outdoors. And you were catching these bigger and bigger cats, but at what point did you start going with live baits and cut baits?
You know what? I was probably honestly in my early 20s before I started going after the larger fish. I was in the automobile business. I was in the new car business. I worked in the sales department as a manager for over 32 years. I was in the car business. So a lot of my time was with family and at the job, of course. But I had a couple of friends of mine. We lived down in Bedford, Indiana, in southern Indiana, for about 25 years. The White River was down there. And of course, the White River down there was really, really well known for some real large cats. We had Lake Monroe just above us, maybe 20 minutes from us. We had Patoka Lake, was 25 minutes south of us. So we was right there in the water. But a few buddies of mine's really got me started into the bigger fish. I'll tell you, I caught one big fish years ago. It was a 44-pound flathead, and I wasn't fishing for flathead. I was fishing actually for channels. But I caught it on just a cheap, again, a $20 rod and reel with 25-pound test. And that's what really got me excited about the bigger fish. But I've been a bank fisherman the last two or 3 years. I sold my boats. I just didn't have time to get out like I needed to on the water. Starting the company especially kept me super busy. But I really love bank fishing. I really enjoy bank fishing. That's how I grew up. Dad never had a boat when we was kids, so we fished on the bank. And to be honest with you, it's still my love.
We have Linda Peterson came in. We have Jefferson Einstein and John Euler. River Rat's thinking like I am, but I'm going to reword his question a little bit. He says, when did you think of the guard dogs? And that I want to say, at what age, at what point in your life did you come up with a plan and idea of the guard dog?
Well, I'll tell you, the guard dog concept, the original concept came to me one day when I was fishing. And I was actually pan fishing for bait for that evening's fishing adventure. Me and a buddy was going to do some camping out, start a campfire, drink a few beers, and just have a good time one night. And I got to thinking, here in Indiana, we're only allowed 3 fishing poles, but here I am casting for baits, and I've got 2 rods over there that basically I'm away from the poles probably 40 yards from where I'm fishing for bait. And I thought, you know what, it's a shame not to be able to set them other 2 rods up, but I know I couldn't get there quick enough. If something hit, it would break my heart, so I didn't do that. But I came up with the concept of the guard dog about 13 years ago. Actually, is when I started producing an original prototype. Guys, my first idea, and I'm going to show you something here. I think I've showed it on one other show in the past, but my original idea was not the guard dog you see right now. My original idea, I made my own generic fish hooker. Guys, hold on just a second. I'm getting out of the channel. I made my own original fish hooker, if you can see that, out of a bow release, out of an archery release.
Yeah, that's cool.
I put an arm on it. Again, I'm terrible with the camera, guys, but I put an arm on it with the little slots, run the fishing line over it, just basically like I do the guard dog now, but the trigger was just an archery release. But it worked great as long as I was on still water. But you could not adjust that heavy enough to fish in currents. So then I decided to go more. I made basically a metal one out of just a generic coat hanger and JB Weld. And it worked. But again, it was so rough, you couldn't adjust the trigger. You had to bend it to change the trigger, the settings on the trigger settings. It was just a lot of work. So I thought to myself, well, I need to make one of these because I wanted one, not just to sell. I wanted one personally. So I started making some prototypes up. And after about 200 prototypes, I came up pretty much with the original idea of the guard dog 8 or 9 years ago. But I was still full-time in the automobile business, 6 days a week. I was still working, from 7 in the morning till 9 at night. I didn't have the time. I couldn't really do anything with it until I retired a few years ago. That's when I moved forward and started actually bending, if you remember right, and I know you've got one of these, I think, Avid, but bending the original guard dog. I did that in the shop on my own with a hand bender, guys. Every one of the original dogs that was ever made was hand bent in my shop. Well, Actually, they worked so good. I had some friends of mine said, "Man, you need to sell them. I want some. I know some buddies want some." Well, I put some on eBay just to try test the market out a little bit, and they took off so fast I couldn't keep up. That's when I knew that I wanted to get them in other people's hands for testing to get their opinions. They worked great. They worked absolutely great, but they were made out of steel. They would rust after a while. You might have to take a little steel wool and scrape the rust off of it. They had some flaws, basically, where this new Guard Dog Pro, made out of the aircraft grade aluminum, is actually stronger than this steel. It's actually lighter. It's rust proof. There's just some advantages to the new one. But Abbott, I've got to show you something, buddy.
All right.
The original concept that I'd made, that I was telling you I was working on years ago, this is my original logo.
That is, whoa.
You see that? It was going to be called the Easy Hooker. Okay.
You got a lot of attention with that one.
Well, you know what? I knew I would draw the men in, but it's so politically correct anymore. I didn't want to offend women, of course, so that was a no-no. But so this concept was out for a really good long time.
Right.
But with when the original dogs came out, I've had nothing but really good word to say about them. But I needed to step it up. I've got a manufacturer out of Massachusetts now that does all the manufacturing for the new Guard Dog Pro model.
That's cool.
Yeah, it basically took a lot of effort off. Plus, I made a better design. Just made a much better design.
California Ford came in. Hello. Linda Peterson wants to know, what pounds does it take for the Guard Dog?
To trigger it?
Yes.
You can trigger this, guys. I tell you, the new Guard Dog Pro, and again, I'm going to try to keep this in camera, but if you notice, it's got a little AL and it's got an H. That is actually that's the patent on the Guard Dog. It has a fully adjustable trigger system on it, so you can set it wherever you want just by sliding this little tension string. If you slide it towards the lighter side, you can get it as light as you want till it almost just trips itself. You can take it anywhere you want to take it, depending on your water conditions, clear up to a really heavy Mississippi River type current. We've got people in the Mississippi using these a lot. Of course, it takes quite a tug on the heavy. So one suggestion I've got with the Guard Dogs is, of course, like I say, I always try to fish them with my water currents. If I've got a real calm water current or a very, very slight water current, my Guard Dog will be placed clear over here on the really, really light side. And the reason for that is, of course, if any little fish takes it, I want to catch that 1 pounder just like I want to catch that 50 pounder. Okay. Well, a 50 pounder can trip it just about anywhere it's at. A 50 pounder ain't got no problem tripping it. But if I'm fishing the waters I'm fishing, I'll keep this little nose in the rod tip eye as close to tripping as what the water would let me. And that way, any small, quick, one and done fish strikes, it's hooked. It's hooked. And for those of you that don't know, here's a little ugly stick rod I've got. And I'll show you the rod and reel, or the rod setup here in just a minute. But that little nose just fits in the eye, the rod tip eye. Your pole will bend, but when I'm fishing calm waters, I've got that nose clear out here where it's just barely hanging in there. And that way, any little bitty strike, and it's going to release that rod tip. So fish as light as water conditions as you can. If you want to catch smaller fish, Of course, we don't know if a big fish is going to strike or a small one. We don't know that. So
Right.
I like being safe and keep it on the lighter side more than I do the heavier side, just so I can catch those littler fish that strike, you know.
Now, Dominic Hollis says, I've used it in the Ohio, Tennessee, Cumberland, and the Mississippi rivers. It has stayed strong even with the strong currents.
Yeah, there's no problem. Again, that's the patent on the guard dog, guys, is that a fully adjustable trigger system allows you personally to fish your waters uh, anywhere you're at, you know, anywhere you're at. It really makes it nice.
Thank you, River Rats, for sharing out Monty Sheets' Facebook, YouTube page.
Thanks, River Rat. Thanks, brother.
And if you don't have him, please go over there and hook set him and let him know we sent you over there and show him some love. Buck Williams says, just got in. I'm so disappointed. It's just Monty. No pretty lady with him. LOL.
Well, hey, Buck, come on down to the Smoky Mountain Expo this weekend. She's going to be down there. She's going to be putting on the demonstrations along with me and Brad Caudell. We'll all be putting on demonstrations for guard dogs, answering questions. Yeah, she's a pretty little lady. I'm glad to have her with the company.
Linda is thinking about using the guard dog on salmon or muskies.
I'll tell you what, I know Rich up there, the Canadian fishing musician, he just can't wait for salmon season with them. Guys, they will work on any type of fish. Adam Zimmerman, of course, with Cat Claws, he's another pro staff of ours. He had his little sons out in the back, I guess just a little creek he had, catching bluegills with the guard dogs. But he had a light rod. He had a little trouble trying to set them up because they was biting so quick, but it doesn't matter. We've had fish caught from bluegill clear up to shark. It's for ocean fishing to your, again, walleye, muskie, trout. Randy Cura, of course, is out in Colorado. He's the team captain for the pro staff team. He's a multi-species fisherman. He catches, 15, 20 different types of fish all the time. But they can be used for any fish. Any fish you want to fish for, pretty much they can be used for. I know Rustic Avid caught a gar on one of his lives. They catch again, gar. They will catch turtles. I hate to say it. They'll catch turtles as well. But yeah, as long as that fish is just big enough to set that guard dog off, and like I say, you can set it so light you can almost breathe on it.
Like that one live I was on, that guard dog didn't go off because I had it set so heavy.
Yes. Well, you know what? It takes a bigger fish when you're fishing with that heavier setting. A small fish just isn't going to do it so much. But River Rat can tell you. I know John Oyler can tell you. I know a lot of these other guys that's used the dogs quite a bit. Once you get used to the trigger, it's really simple. To get used to it. It's just figuring out basically when you move it one way, if it's too light and the pole wants to trip on you, you just move it to a little bit heavier until it doesn't trip no more. That's the perfect setting. But your trigger setting should be the very last thing you do on your setup. You should, cast your bait out, stick it in the rod holder, bend your rod down, stick the guard dog on, reel in your slack. And the very last thing you want to do, now I always set my guard dog on just a little heavier when I'm setting it up.
Right.
I don't set it up real light to begin with because I don't want it going off while I'm setting the guard dog up.
Right. That's what I did, and I forgot to readjust it on that one fish.
Yeah, but your last step is actually just sliding that tension string over, and you'll get a real good feel with your rods and the water you're fishing. You'll get a real good feel in just a few minutes. You'll know in just a few minutes.
I want to welcome in Johnny Small Pepper, Ozark Guys Fishing, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. And
Hey,
Shirley
guys.
T, welcome in.
They all.
But I know everybody is having a little bit of issues back there with certain eyelets on the rod tips, and I know you come up with a game plan to fix that.
Yeah, you know what? The only eyelets, I'll tell you guys, the guard dogs will work on 90% of all your rods out there. 9 out of 10 of them will never have an issue. But you have got some new rods now that either have really, really micro rod tip eyes where it won't let the guard dog nose trip because it's so small. And you've got one rod. I fish with Mad Cats. I fish with Berkeley's. I fish with St. Croix's. I fish with you name it. Ugly Sticks. The only rod I've ever had problems with as far as catfish rod was an Uncle Lou. And an Uncle Lou rod, as you know, Avid, you have one. They've got more. If you look at the eyes on the Uncle Lou's, they're fat. They're a fat eye. They ain't rounded.
Yeah.
They ain't
They're fat and thick.
They're fat, thick, and they've got a square backing on them. It isn't a rounded eye.
No.
It's more of a square eye. Some of the Uncle Lou rods work fine. I guess maybe they had an older version. I know we've had a lot of people that use Uncle Lou and never had a problem. Brad Caudell, of course, has 3 Mad Cats he fishes with. 2 of them works perfect. 1 of them is a newer eye. It doesn't work. It's like yours, where it sticks a little bit. But guys, I was telling Avid in a previous show, I'm going to give you some information. Again, the best way to check if your rod will work is just this way right here. Take your rod tip eye and if it'll swing out. If it swings out, you're good to go. But some of them, if it's like the Uncle Lou with the square eyes or real little tips, they could bind right at the tip of the eyelet and give you a little issue. So all you have to do just to say, does my pole work? Just slip a dog nose in there and turn it. If it comes out, you're good. Okay? Real easy to check. But the original guard dogs, I had a blueprint drew up on this original guard dog. That's how we came up with a Guard Dog Pro. That's the design. It was basically the very same design, so to speak, as the original. Okay? But on the blueprint that was drawn up, actually, the gentleman that drew it up, for whatever reason, the specs was off a little bit on the nose. Can you see that nose? Well, I'm trying to get it where
Hold on. Let me put you on solo screen.
Let me try to line that up. But the nose is just a little bit longer on the Guard Dog Pro than the original.
It's about like 3/8 of an inch longer.
It's 3/32. It's not quite an eighth, but it's 3/32. It's about that much difference. But if you notice, this has sort of a straight ledge. Well, actually,
more of a straight ledge instead of that curve.
That's what is binding on them real little eyes and those Uncle Lou's is that little straight edge right there. So down the road, our next models actually will go back to the original guard dog nose length. It was supposed to be that way to begin with. But again, with the blueprint that came out, it came out longer somehow. So, but again, it's not a critical issue for most people because 90 to 95% of your rods, especially your catfish rods, they'll work. If you have an Uncle Lou's or something with a square rod eye, the real thick, fat, square eyes, it may give you a little issue. So you want to check it.
Linda Peterson has a question for you. Have you tried it with several different hooks on it?
I've tried it with every hook known to man. But I'll tell you what, Linda, again, most of my fishing is carp and catfish, and most of the people that I know, like Avid and people on this channel, most of them are catfish, carp. The majority is catfish, carp. Circle hooks. 80% of everyone uses a guard dog is using a circle hook, and there's some advantages. People say, "Oh no, you know what? I don't need anything like that because I use a circle hook and they hook themselves." Well, haven't you know as well as everybody in this chat that fishes with circle hooks, if you're sitting right next to your rod and that rod starts bending with a circle hook, what's the first thing you do?
Grab it.
You start reeling down on
Right.
it. Okay. First thing you do is you reel down, or you'll lift your rod just to get that circle hook. That fish swimming away has drugged that circle hook from its throat or stomach or wherever it's had it. That's the reason for circle hooks, is so it'll slide down to the corner of a fish's mouth. Well, but you still have to set a circle hook most of the time, or you can lose a lot of fish on circles. I fished with circles for the last 20 years, and people that tell me, "Oh, you never lose a fish on a circle hook," believe me, I just don't believe them, because I've been there, done that thousands of times, and I know better.
I know better than that.
You still have to reel down, or you still have to lift a rod, because that hook is in the fish's mouth. But the reason you're reeling is you're trying to put pressure on that hook to pull it through. Okay?
Right. You're trying to get more tension on that hook.
I'm going to show you a little example, and I set this up just for you, Evan, but I'm going to try to show you something here. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I've got a guard dog on duty now. Okay? And the reason for that is I'm going to show you why a circle hook user has an advantage with a guard dog. Let's say that you are busy doing something else, and believe me, we all get busy.
Oh, we do. That's a given.
I'm going to show you a little secret. Now, I'm just going to take a piece of cardboard. As a matter of fact, I'm going to double it up because I don't want this hook going through. But I've got the guard dog set up, of course, and I've got a circle hook. Okay. Now I'm going to show you why the guard dog works so well. What's that?
That's going to hurt if you miss that cardboard and it hits your finger.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this, if you could see, like it's in the corner of a fish's mouth. It's slid down to the corner. Now, as the fish pulls, of course, that's what slides that hook right to the corner of the fish's mouth. But once
I'm waiting for that guard dog to go off.
Once it applies enough pressure for that guard dog to go off, it's not a jerk. The guard dog does not jerk to set the hook. It applies a real heavy, solid, instant pressure. Let me try to do this for you.
I just heard it.
Where it basically just jerks it by pressure. It's not the jerking reaction, because that pull is already bent.
Right.
Okay? It's already bent. So when it jerks, it's already just pulling pressure on that.
I'm glad you doubled up that cardboard.
Yes, I've done it 1,000 times. I knew better.
JG Hill has a question for you.
Yeah.
What are the options for anchoring in different types of grounds with a guard dog?
Well, I'll tell you what. As far as you mean the tension string, is that what you're talking about, JG?
He's wanting to know what different options you have for anchoring the guard dog.
Okay, I'll tell you what, the best examples, that my favorite way, of course, when I'm on a bank versus boat, I've used them on both, of course, and they work great on both. But on the bank, most every single rod holder you're going to use in the ground is going to have a ground stake, of course. This bottom loop that comes off of the guard dog underneath the tension string, of course, when you set it up, it's going to have a tension string that you can adjust, a little tension adjuster.
Right.
But that bottom loop, just stick it on the ground and shove your rod holder stake down through the center. Okay. All it's got to do is just hold that rod tip. So that ground stake on your rod holder is a fast and easy way to do it. I know Brad Caudill, Randy, some of them, they actually put the rod holder in the ground. They put their pole in there and they come out just about 6 or 8 inches in front of the rod holder, and they use a tent stake. Again, all you're doing is just putting this little loop around something that'll hold that tension. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So just, I used a tree root one time, Avin, that was sticking on the ground, but this has to slide. Of course, you've got to be able to let this string slide back and forth freely so you can adjust, so you can adjust your rod bend. Okay. But it can anchor. It can anchor to anything you want to anchor it to, but I actually usually just use my fishing rod holder ground stake. I'll just put that loop on the ground and I'll put my stake in the middle of the loop, sliding my ground stake down, and I'm ready to go. Just really, really quick.
Now, like me, when I hook mine up to my spring rod, my rod holders, so that way when I pull them up, I don't have to worry about them.
Well, and I'll tell you what, Avin, now I have here lately, of course. Now Adam Zimmerman is the owner of Cat Claws, of course, and you've seen them. I had him make me some special Cat Claws with a guard dog metal plate on it, because that's for my exhibits, that's for my demonstrations. Usually they just have your 2 bars so you can fish with them, like your regular rod holders. But with that step base on there, that base plate where you can just put your foot on that and shove them down in the ground, man, I'll tell you what, it's been ideal for me. But if you notice, he drills a little hole in this front plate.
Right.
I put just a little carabiner or a little clip on that, just so I can fasten my tension string in there. And man, I'm ready to go. So it works out great for me. But of course, this is my new go-to, these Cat Claws. I'll tell you, he does a great job. But again, if you haven't got them yet, you need to check them out. But if you haven't got them yet, any rod holder, it doesn't matter if it's a spring rod holder, a PVC rod holder, it doesn't matter. Just as long as you can wrap that bottom loop around something that will hold that rod bend secure, you're ready. Matter of fact, you could even wrap it around your fishing reel handle, if you wanted to, but I don't like doing that because it gets, if you got a fish, you got to pull it off your handle to reel it in. So I suggest either a tent stake out in front of your rod holder, attach it to your rod holder or to your rod holder ground stake, one or the other.
We got Mr. Real-Time Catfishing, Mr. Sir Dinks a Lot, John Parker in here.
Mr. John, my buddy.
I love the guy, but I love giving him grief.
Oh, of course. He's good. He's a good man.
Oh, he's a good man. He does a lot of people good with doing thumbnails and everything for him. And
I use his thumbnails on my most all my pictures. Matter of fact, I appreciate. Yeah, he does a great job.
He does really good work.
He does. Now, John, his eyesight, of course, limits him on certain things. But even John, guys, and Avid, you can testify to this, along with other people, I'm sure, in chat. But guys, the guard dog is one of the most simple tools, and I do call it a tool because it isn't meant to change the way you normally fish, guys. This is not to change fishing. It's to give you an advantage when you're out there doing what you normally do. Now, like I say, when I'm out fishing, I'm always casting for bait fish. When I'm out there, 90% of my time, I'm out there trying to catch bluegills or sunfish or whatever else for fishing for later on that night. I've got a rod in my hand that I fish like normal, and I'll just set 2 guard dog rods up, 20, 30 yards away from me, and I'll bring in those extra fish that I couldn't have got to in time when them poles went off. But night fishermen, guys, my dad, when I grew up, Avid, you was asking about me catfishing. I can't
Right.
remember catfishing through the day with my dad. It was always after dark,
Uh-huh.
always. But when you've got a couple poles set up with the guard dogs at night and you really can't watch your line real good, you hear a bell, and by the time you get to the rod, it's done, it's felt the pressure and dropped the bait.
Right.
There's a lot of advantages to use them as a addition to your fishing. Don't change your fishing. Boat fishermen the same way. I've got a few cousins that are nothing. They love crappie fishing. That's all they want to do is crappie fish. Period.
Can I get someone a mod to drop in Monty Sheets website in chat for people that want to buy them and try them out?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. But Avid, I was saying, I've got a cousin that does nothing but crappie. He loves that finesse fishing. He don't want that big hard jerk. He wants that finesse fishing. That's fine. That's not for me, but he loves it. But to make a point, he bought a boat this last summer, and while he's out there finesse fishing, he's got 2 rods set up on the back of his boat now with guard dogs. Because usually when he's fishing and he's anchored, put it that way. Now we've got some striper fishermen that are slow trolling for stripers with a guard dog. They set the trigger heavy. They're only trolling like a mile an hour, half mile an hour, just basically floating. But man, they are tearing stripers up down on Lake Monroe in Bloomington with the guard dogs. I mean, they're tearing them up. So yeah, there's so many different uses. Matter of fact, this is the only product on the market, guys, that will go from the bank to a boat to an ice fishing rod and reel. Again, Randy Cura is out in Colorado. He's got videos on his channel, Let's Go Fishing with Randy, that'll show you him fishing with the guard dogs on ice, and they do a great job, even for ice fishing rods. So, it's sort of an all year long tool for less than $20. So it's hard to beat that.
When did you come up with a shirt design?
My last shirt design?
Yeah, the Team Guard Dog jersey, lightweight and breathable.
Well, that was probably just a few months ago. Just a couple months ago, I came up with that jersey. I have a pro staff jersey, of course, that's just strictly for pro staff, but we had so many other customers saying, I'd like to have a jersey. I made it exactly out of the same material, that breathable, lightweight material. I made it exactly the same shirt, except for instead of saying pro staff, it says Team Guard Dog. But we're going to have some of them down at the expo. Yeah, we've had a lot. The people that's purchased them really like them. And matter of fact, like I say, you can ask River Rat or John Euler or Randy or any, man, they are comfortable shirts, really comfortable.
Yeah, it's just Guard Dog Nation on one sleeve and Team Guard Dog on the other.
Yes.
Now, what are they just going to be just in long sleeve? There won't be no short sleeves or what?
No, now I'll tell you what, I wanted to go with this breathable long sleeve for one reason. To start off, we're really not getting into a big line of apparel yet, Avid, because my focus, I've got hats, I've got the jerseys, but my focus right now is more getting into we want to get the guard dog known to the public. The only place we actually promote guard dogs, guys, and I know a lot of you in chat know about us through Facebook, because Facebook is the only place I promote guard dog. We don't have outside advertising companies. We look for our pro staffs, to get it out there and show some in their areas and promote some on YouTube's. Dink Over Stink, I know, does some YouTubes. Randy, River Rat, they all pretty much do the YouTube stuff, which helps get it out there. But still, word of mouth is what's going to spread our product.
Rusty,
That's what's
behave.
taking.
Now, two questions. One, we're going to step back in time a little bit. When you had the metal guard dog,
Yes.
how many times? No, actually, when you went back to the trigger release, at what time did you think of starting using the heavier metal instead of the trigger release? And part two is, what metals were you toying with besides the hanger to make it with?
Well, now this, of course, I started off with a hanger to get the design.
Right.
Then I went to this 1/8 inch steel, cold rolled steel, rods. You know, I tried them on stainless. I made a few stainless ones. I went thinner. Tried to get it as light as I could. Any thinner, and it wasn't sturdy enough for me. Any one of these, I don't care if it's an original guard dog or this new pro model guard dog, I want it to last for 50 years. I didn't want cheap, chimsy, a piece of junk. And Avid, you know yourself, you've got one, you've felt one, and I know a lot of the other guys have too on the chat. These are a quality tool.
No.
Man, this aircraft grade aluminum on this new one is just, this old one was good and strong, and it wasn't going to bend. It was a solid design, but this new aircraft grade aluminum one is just, like I say, it's just a whole step above.
That aircraft aluminum is tough.
It's good stuff. It's 6061 T6 aluminum. So if any of you guys are metal workers out there, you'll know what I'm talking about.
We have Yak Shores Outdoors that came in saying hi, Monty.
Well, hey Yak, how you doing? Hey guys.
No, I'm not trying to take away from your guard dog, but I noticed you had hats on your website as well.
Yes. We actually have guard dog hats available. They're medium or large is all I have. I have no smalls left. We've got another order coming in. Basically everything that we sell, guys, is top quality, or it won't go on our website.
Oh yeah.
But everything's also free shipping. I don't get into that situation where I try to price stuff where it sounds good and cheap, and all of a sudden you're spending, $7 or $8 extra on shipping. Anything you buy, the hats right now are at $24.95. You can get a discount for anything, hats, jerseys, guard dogs, any item we've got on our website. If you use one of our Pro Staff promo codes, you'll get a discount even off of that with totally free shipping. So again, we don't try to hide nothing. We want everything up and up. But Avid, I'm just a simple country boy.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a simple guy. I never was wealthy growing up. I lived in a family, we never starved, but hey, Goodwill was our clothes for school many years.
Oh, trust me, I remember those days.
Well, and you know what? I'm thankful for that. Honestly, I'm thankful for that. But when it comes to, I'm such a, I guess, perfectionist. When I do something, it drives me crazy if something isn't just the very best I can possibly get it. And I want to put a product out there, like I say, that I don't want somebody buying a guard dog, using it once and getting frustrated because it didn't catch a fish or they didn't set it up right or something. Guys, it takes a few times just to get used to it. It's different. But I don't want to put a product out there on the market where they use it once and it goes in a kitchen drawer never to be seen again as another fishing gadget. I've bought thousands of gadgets. I used one time and that was it. That was it. I want to put a quality product out there that works, and it works well. But I want it to last long enough, like I say, unless you run over it or would, really do something strenuous, it's going to last for years and years. And you're going to be able to pass this down to your kids and grandkids. And that's what we want. That's what we want.
I want to say welcome in to Turtle Lady, Yak Shores Outdoors, fishing with JB.
Hey guys.
And Solo, I got the question. I'll ask him, but Yak Shore, as soon as my shirts come in, I will be sending out your package with the rod holders and the shirt. I want you to try the shirt out. Let me know what you think. Uh, he Ricky wants to know, Monty, does the bend in the pole and the hot sun begin to weaken the pole over time?
No, Ricky, I'll tell you what, with this new S glass they make now, I'm gonna tell you, I talked to 4 fishing manufacturers when I was starting to come up with the original guard dogs, because I wanted to be able to give good information that I knew for fact came from rod manufacturers. Matter of fact, I contacted the first one I actually got back with was Ugly Stick. Now it's all the newer rods. The older rods, it was made out of wood. You could get moisture in wood. The wood would bend, it would bow, it would, it could cause issues with wood. As long as you're using a modern rod, it's made out of composite, S-glass, graphite, there's not one issue in the world that's going to affect that rod bend. And another thing that you need to understand, you can use a bait caster rod and reel, or you can use a spinning casting rod and reel, or an open, closed face, whatever rod and reel you want to use. But you always want to set it up in a spinning reel position. Even if it's a bait caster, you'll set it up vice versa, where the reel is facing towards the water, not facing towards you on the bank. And again, this S-glass and all these new composites, these fishing rods that are made come in as just solid blanks. They're a one-piece solid blank. Most of them's made nowadays, guys, in China. I hate to say that, but it's true. But they come in as a one-piece solid blank. There is no more spine in a rod or a rod like you used to. It's right. It's not critical anymore. How they do it now is they'll actually just pick one up and look and see if there's any bow in that at all, and that's where they put their eyes. But it doesn't matter. So that even though the pole is bent the opposite way on a bait caster, it has no effect on it whatsoever. Doesn't harm it a bit. So no, and the other nice thing about the guard dogs, guys, you got to remember, when you're setting up a guard dog, our recommendations is you don't have to bend that rod like you're trying to break it down. All you want is a nice half rod bend for the guard dog.
No,
I'll give you plenty enough hook set with just a half rod bend. So it's really not even putting stress on it, so don't worry about that part of it.
Here's a question for people that don't use regular rods, and some people may use a cane pole. Would that work on a cane
pole? I've got a guy down in Texas using one on a cane pole.
So how is that working?
He showed me a picture. His name is Granville Wells. He's on Facebook. He's a gentleman that is actually coming up with an automatic jigger for ice fishing. He's the inventor and manufacturer of that, and he's wanting to use the guard dogs, with his ice fishing rig. But he set up a cane pole, left it over evening, went back the next morning. He said he had like a 4 or 5 pound channel cat on it. Anything that will bow. Do you remember me telling you that some of the people down south are using diddy poles, bank poles?
Yeah, the bank poles. I remember that. We talked
Same
about
situation. That. As long as you've got something that will bend, and that guard dog could set on it. Matter of fact, on that cane pole, what that gentleman did, what Granville did, he actually just went to the hardware store and got a regular wood eye and screwed in the end of that bamboo. Just a regular wood eye, just enough to let that guard dog nose set in it. But if you've got something that's going to bend, and as soon as that trips, if that's got enough tension just to trip and come up, any rod and reel pretty much will work. Okay?
Now, anybody in chat, if you have questions, please put a red question mark or red exclamation marks that you'll find in the emoji so I can see them when they pop up.
Hey, and Abbott, would you do me one favor? Because I'm not seeing, no, I'm not seeing much chat. I'm not seeing chat. I'm basically, like I say, sort of listening to what you're saying. But would you ask just in chat? I don't even know how many people's in here, but can you just ask a question on how many here in chat has actually used a guard dog?
That's what I was fixing to do.
Okay.
We have 35 people in chat, and everybody that has a guard dog, put a thumbs up. If you want to buy a guard dog, put a heart on there. If you don't have one, put a 2 in chat.
Well, and if you do want to buy one, remember, every one of our pro staff has a promo code, but I won't give a promo code out because I want to be impartial to every one of our pro staff. So if we've got pro staff in the chat, please put a promo code out.
Well, Rustic River Rats has one. Rustic has one. CFA says, I don't have one. I got 3. Ozark has a thumbs up. He's got one.
I'd just like to know who has them, and basically, again, guys.
So Texas Adventures don't have one yet.
99% of the country still doesn't know a guard dog exists. That's, these guard dogs, guys, just came out. The new pro model, the first original guard dogs came out May of last year. Now, keep this in your mind. The first original guard dogs came out in May of last year. I shut them off in July.
Well,
so there was May, June, and July. The original dogs was only sold 3 months, period.
Wow.
Then we started manufacturing the new model, and it didn't come out until the end of January of this year. So actually, we're only 6 or 7 months into this, product. It seems like 6 or 7 years, but we've only been in the market for basically 5 months now on the new one. 6 months maybe, but the 99% of the people in this country still don't even know what a guard dog is. If you're not in a Facebook catfish group, and again, most people aren't, your normal fishermen aren't, they don't even know we have one yet. That's the reason we're trying to get them out there and spread the word, because guys, I'm going to tell you something. It is an advantage using a guard dog. There really is. A person's instincts and reaction time. I don't care if you're sitting right in front of your pole and that pole bends and then drops before you can actually start reeling down or whatever else. I've missed a lot of fish on one and done. As soon as that rod bends, that fish is hooked with a guard dog. I mean, it's instantaneous. As soon as that pressure's put on there, it trips that rod tip. That fish doesn't have time to even know what's going on, so it is an advantage.
I want to say welcome in to Chrissy Brown, and
Well, hi,
I will be buying a guard dog tonight on the show, and the person that I'll be doing a drawing for it, so whoever wins it will give me their address, and I'll have it shipped directly from Monty's page directly to your house.
Yeah, and guys, anyone that purchases one, we try to ship out next day. So normally it's 3 to 4 days after your purchase, it's in your hands.
So this is for everybody in chat, all 35 of you. So I'm going to show you what you have to put in for the drawing.
While you're doing that,
what did I mess up on?
I'm going to get me a cup of coffee.
Oh, hold on. I got to redo that again.
Hey guys in chat, I can't see you, but thank you all for coming in. Like I say, if you have any questions, be sure to ask. I'd be glad to answer them for you.
All right, that's what you're going to be putting in chat. Guard dog. If you want to get a chance at one of Monty Sheet's guard dogs, put in guard dog for there and message when the drawing is over. I'll need the winner's information so I can send it to you. So, John, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect about spelling. It's just something quick I did.
Is John Euler in there?
Yeah, he's giving me
John,
grief
how you doing, brother? How you doing, brother?
He's giving me grief because I spelled it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
River Rat says questions. I use them to catch more catfish. Just kidding.
Yeah, River Rat tears it up with the guard dogs. I'm telling you, he tears it up. I think River Rat would be one that would tell you he don't set his rods. He don't bend his rods down very far at all. And he's hooking, nice 30, 40 pound cats all day long. Yeah. All day long.
We have Warren Farley that came in.
Warren, he's a guard dog user. He's real good at setting them up and using them. He's a good man.
I'm going to leave this running for a while, so anybody that wants in, just put hashtag guard dog in there.
Man, it's hot tonight.
I figured I'd do this to help get some of these people that don't have one to get a chance to get them to get one in their hands and try it out.
Oh yeah, and guys, I'll tell you what, they are so simple. I mean, they really, really are so simple to set up. Avid, you can testify, Avid. I mean, once you figure it out, of course, everybody starts off with not knowing. But once you actually understand, hey, I just put my tension string on. Hey, I just bend my pole and put it on and make sure the little line's on the guard dog. Once you figure that out, you can set one up in less than 4 seconds. It's just very simple.
It's so simple to set one of those guard dogs up. It ain't funny.
Oh, I know. So if people think, well, this could be complicated, it could be difficult, it could be, guys, we've got Adam Zimmerman's 6-year-old little boy. Of course, you can see pictures on our website and on our Facebook page. He sets them up. I mean, he's got a 5'7" tall rod because he's just a little boy, but it's so simple. A little child can do it.
I want to say hello to Butterflies and Sunshine.
Well, hey, Butterflies.
And Catfish Dog Tim that just came in.
Hey, Timmy.
So if you guys are wanting in to get a guard dog, put in hashtag guard dog in chat. And whoever wins, I will need your information either through Messenger or email so I can get it sent out to you. And I'll be buying it online, and I need your address and zip code and all that to where he'll get it sent out to you the next day.
And Avid, if you will, just ask them if they have a specific color they would desire if they win. We've got 7 colors, guys. A guard dog comes in 7 different anodized colors: red, green, blue, orange, yellow, pink, purple. Just whatever you think you like best. That way, if Avid could just let me know what color, I can get that color to you.
Yeah, just let me know the colors, and we'll go over the colors here shortly off the web page.
Yeah, if you can bring that up, I'd appreciate it because I ain't got nothing. I've got everything inside of the shop trying to get ready for that expo.
Well, I can bring it up.
But again, remember, guys, circle hooks, J hooks, Kale's hooks, It doesn't matter. They will absolutely hook up a fish on any of them. Any of them.
River Rat, if you're in chat, you're allowed to play.
Absolutely. Well, and I don't know if I told you, Avid, but River Rat is actually, he was a pro staff. This last week, he told me, he said, Monty, I'm having a few health issues. I'm not going to be able to help you much. So I want to basically back out for a little bit. He will be back on pro staff, you know, in the future. We have, you know, he's a brother of ours. We all miss him and praying for him. But when he feels ready to go, he'll be back into it. But right now, I just want to send my prayers out to him.
River Rat, you're in our thoughts and prayers. And can I get someone in chat to post his web page again? Please. I'm going back up in chat in a different screen trying to find it. Thank you, Solo.
How warm is it there where you're at tonight, Abbott? How warm is it?
It's 88 degrees.
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm sitting.
It's 88 degrees.
I got the door open and I am just sweating. I'm sorry if you see a bunch of sweat on me, it's because that air conditioner is just too noisy to turn on.
Linda wants to know if you are planning to go to fishing shows in larger cities.
Absolutely. I tell you, we went to Indianapolis back in February. Of course, we've got an expo coming up this next weekend in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, this coming weekend. We've got an expo back in Danville, Indiana in February, the 3rd and 4th, called the Hendricks County Expo. And I want to try to get in 5 to 7 expos next year. Of course, we had to wait for the guard dogs this year. You know, they wasn't available yet. We're still waiting for them to be manufactured. But so this year, we're only going to have 2. Next year, I really plan on having more. I'd like to get some in areas where pro staff's at, so actually I could fly out and meet new pro staff and maybe do a little fishing. So,
how far are you from Illinois?
Well, we're just about 35, 40 minutes north of Indianapolis in Indiana.
Because I know every January they have this Take Me Fishing program here in Collinsville.
Uh-huh.
That's a 3-day event. I think you'd do really good there.
Well, I'll tell you what, we need to check it out. We really need to check it out. Now, this year, of course, we're right next to Mad Cat's Fishing Rods. Our booth is. So, you know, we'll be meeting a lot of people. We'll be, like I say, it'll be basically just demonstrations after demonstrations, questions after questions. But guys, I'll tell you what, once you see them actually set up, once you feel, if you can pull on the fishing line on your own just to see how sensitive you can set them, you're going to enjoy them. You're really going to enjoy them.
Welcome in Gray Wolf and Tina Ladybug. Long time no see, Tina Ladybug. Glad to have you back in here. We have 15 awesome people in the drawing, actually 16, and we'll let this run for another 2 minutes before we spin it. And after we spin it, we will bring up the web page that has the colors on it, and the winner will have a chance to pick out what color he wants and message me or email me his mailing information. So, are you planning to improve on your guard dogs or expand in any way?
Avid, other than that little nose that I will be, again, guys, it takes so much. Can you go full screen just for a second?
Yeah, I can go. Hey, I can put full screen on you anytime.
Just for a second. Guys, if you notice, this is the original blueprint for the pro model guard dog. I went through every single spec all the way up, even the little nose. Well, I'm vice versa. Where's my at? the little nose. This is specially coined to be absolutely smooth and rounded. As same way with this grooves in this fishing thing, they're coined so there's no way that your fishing line's going to snag or it's going to hurt your rod tip. But if you notice, that's the actual diagram for the Guard Dog Pro. Now, the only switch that I'm going to make next go round, is this little nose, like we talked about before. I'm going to shorten it just a little bit. And other than that,
of an inch.
just 3/32. It's not even an eighth. It's so small, but I just need to take, it's almost to where this first line here is, Avid.
Yeah.
I'm just taking off that straight part. Of course, it'll still be rounded. It'll still be coined, so it'll have the rounded nose on the end of it. But that's the only thing I can find that I can improve on. Everything else, it's working so well that I can't find another glitch. And now that we've had it out in the hands of thousands of people that's been testing them, I've got a real good feel for what they're saying and what information they're giving me. And to be honest with you, again, 90 to 95% of your rods will work, but I want that to be 97 or 98% of all rods to work. If I can fix any slight little tweak, I'm going to do it.
I think if you fix that slight little tweak, you'll have 100% of the rods.
I'll tell you what, yeah, well, we'll have it on 98. There's still going to be some rod eyes that's so small that the Guard Dog nose won't fit in. I mean, we can't help that.
No, I understand that. I want to welcome in Super Smurf Eric, Eddie Gross.
Thanks for coming in, Eddie.
And Maurice Kaysen, which is a big supporter of all the channels. Thanks, Maurice.
Like I said, I can't see Chad added, so you're going to have to read off the names because I can't see them.
I am. As they come in, I am. We have 17 people in here, and we'll give you another 30 seconds before we hit the drawing button. So if you haven't got in there, put in hashtag guard dog, what you see on screen.
Yeah, make sure you put in GAURD instead of GUARD. Make sure you
right. Put it in the way you see it on panel.
I've done that myself. I've written it 1,000 times and I've still done that myself, Avid. So don't feel bad.
I normally don't misspell things, but
I do it myself.
I had to redo it there, and I'm like, okay. All right, if everybody's in there, here we go. And good luck to everybody.
Good luck.
The winner will get a chance to pick the color they want. When I bring up the website, it'll show you all the colors. And the winner will have to message me or email me their mailing information. Good luck. Now watch, one of your pro staffs are going to win again. Oh, no, Jello.
Congrats, Jello.
Congratulations, Jello. I'm going to end this one. And I'm going to go back over here and bring up the website page.
And while you're doing that, Avid, I'm going to set this rod up one more time for those that came in late. I just want to show them how this circle hook works with this guard dog while you're doing that.
All right.
Give me just
Jello, here are the colors that you have. You got dark green, you got blue, you got purple, you got red, orange, pink, and yellow. Those are the colors that you have to choose from. Jello, what color would you like of the guard dog?
Man, it's hot. And I'll tell you, they look a lot better in person than in the picture.
Oh, they do. I love that hunter's green.
Yeah, they look really good in person.
That dark green is more of a hunter's green. I love that color.
Yeah, them cell phone pics that I put on there, guys. I'm not the best videoer in the world, so.
Oh, trust me. He wants orange. Jello, are you on Messenger? If you're on Messenger, you can message me your mailing address. If not, email me your mailing address, or get a hold of Catfish Dog and he can text it to me.
And John, Abbott, if you can get a hold of just one of our pro staff, you got pro staff promo codes, correct? Make sure you get a promo code from one of the pro staff. Again, I've got to be unbiased, so I ain't gonna give you a promo, but just any of them you want to use.
I have an idea who I want to get a hold of.
Okay.
River Rat, message me, would you? I have all kinds of promo codes coming up now.
Just use one of them.
I am.
Hey, and can you go full screen one more time?
On which one?
I want to show them this circle hook, how this circle hook works with a guard dog.
Oh, that one?
Yes. Guys, I showed this earlier. You may have been here, you may have not. But if you're using a circle hook, the guard dog has some advantages to a circle hook that's just absolutely awesome. Of course, we all know that you don't pull back and swing to set a circle hook.
No, you don't.
When that rod starts bending, you run over there and you start reeling down to pull pressure on that hook to set that circle hook. Or you grab the rod and you'll lift up to apply pressure on that circle hook. But what if, just what if, you're fighting a fish on another rod and this rod goes off? What if you're starting a campfire and you miss that? You can't get to that rod quick enough to start reeling in or lifting up. Here's where the guard dogs really come in as an advantage. Again, I don't fish with every rod with a guard dog. I set up my spare rods. The ones that I ain't using, I set them apart. Matter of fact, it gives me, I like spreading and covering more water. So I'll spread my rods 15 to 20 yards apart using my guard dogs. That way I've got bait here and I've got bait way over here, and I can find out where them fish holes are, especially if I'm fishing unknown waters. But a circle hook, again, I've got a circle hook here, and excuse me, I'm terrible with the camera, but I've got a circle hook here that I'm going to show you. And as an example, if a catfish has that hook in its mouth, as that line tightens, we know that circle hook goes to the corner. Can you see that okay, Avid?
Hold on a minute. I got to get back there again.
It goes to the corner of that catfish's mouth. With the advantage is there that slight pressure it takes actually pulls that hook to the corner of that catfish's mouth where it belongs. Then as you apply pressure, as that fish applies pressure, it's not a steady or a real hard jerk. It just puts on a constant pressure that sets that circle hook. But it sets it instantly. The second that fish pulls that string tight enough to trigger that guard dog, that circle hook is set. So there's no need for reeling. It takes the place of reeling down, and it takes the place of running over there and trying to lift up. It does it instantly.
I tell you what, if you wouldn't have doubled over that cardboard box, I'm sure someone would have got that.
Yeah. I doubled it over 3 times that one.
I know it, and I still heard it when you did it too.
Oh, it sets a deep hook. I mean, again, that's just now I'm using a Mad Cat's rod for demonstrations. It's just a medium Mad Cat's. Uh, and I'm just setting it up at a half a rod bend. You got to remember a catfish's mouth's sort of thick, but it only has to pull that hook through.
Yeah, but could you imagine doing that with a heavy action rod?
Oh yeah, like I say, if you really want a strong jerk, put a heavy action rod on there. And of course, like I say, but you got to remember, the heavier the rod, the stiffer the rod,
the
more tension, that tension string that's coming down, it's tighter, because that rod's trying to raise it. It's a heavier rod. So it takes a little more to trip a heavy rod than it does a medium or medium heavy or something else. You can set it light, but still, the lighter the rod, the less tension to make that trip. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, Dink was saying, "Man, you scare me doing that, and I don't know why."
Hey Dink, how you doing, brother? Yeah, he watched a video I did before, and I think I sort of scared him that time. So
I seen that video when you did it before, and that was not a good one.
Yeah,
kind of scared the daylights out of me as well.
Well, that's what I say, guys. So if any of you hear your friends saying, "Well, you don't you don't set a circle hook, it ain't setting a circle hook. It's actually just applying when that rod's bent and it trips. It's just pulling that hook. Pressure is pulling that hook in through the lip. So man, they just work. 85% of our people, like I say, catfishing are using circle hooks. 85% of them are.
Wow.
That's all. That's all. Most of our pro staff use. Dink, River Rat. Randy. Don, Brad. They all Adam. They all use circle hooks.
Welcome in, Danny Stone Outdoors.
Hey, Danny, how you doing, brother?
You got some good people in here.
Well, I'm glad to have them in here. Like I say, again, if they have any questions, I'd be glad to answer what I can.
Well, that's why I keep saying, if you have any questions, please put question marks in front of the questions, and they'll stand out, and I'll be able to see them and catch them. We'll get them answered.
And just remember, guys, this little tension string, again, you got the light side trigger, you got the heavy side trigger. All that does is moves that little nose in deeper in the eye or pulls it out farther towards tripping from the eye. So again, it's just by moving this little string is what moves that little nose. That's your trigger. So it's so simple.
Oh yeah, that'd be really easy. Andy, you forgot your your mailing address. Jello, I need your mailing address. I got the email, but there's no mailing address on it.
Yeah, and as soon as Abby gets that to me, I'll get it sent out the very next day. So normally it'll get to 3 or 4 days max.
Yeah, as soon as he Jello, you still in here? It was me. I just need your address now. As soon as I get the address, I can do it while we're live, and we'll have it out to you the next day. Yeah, he sent me a nice little email saying, "Hey, Abbott, it's Jello. Thank you so much for the giveaway. Been wanting to try one out. Guess I don't have an excuse now. Need to get together sometime and fish. You're only a few hours away. Again, thanks. I appreciate it."
That was nice. That was a nice email.
Yeah, he lives maybe 2.5, 3 hours north of me. So I'd love to get him back down here and fish along with Catfish Dog and retired Rick and Mike's fishing home.
Them's
The
good
bunch of
boys.
the bunch of other Illinois fishermen. I'd also like to hook up with Danny Stone and fish with him too.
Yeah, Danny's a good guy too.
Oh,
Them
he's a
some,
hoot.
them some good boys.
Danny is a character. I love him. He's an amazing dude.
Yeah, I've watched Danny for a good long time now. He knows his fish, and he's funny as all get out. He's a good guy.
Thank you, River Rats. Let's keep Monty Sheets' YouTube channel posted going in here, would you please?
And guys, just be aware the YouTube channel that I have, I'm not good at videoing. I'm really terrible at videoing. So there isn't a lot of videos on my YouTube, but we have a Guard Dog Facebook group that you're welcome to look at. You're welcome to check out. You're welcome to join if you'd like. It's called Guard Dog on Duty with an exclamation mark. And we have tons and tons of pictures, tons and tons of videos. Avid, I think you're a member. You probably looked at it a lot, but if you want to really see a lot of videos on the guard dogs in action, Randy Cura, if you just type up guard dog fish hooker videos, man, you'll see hundreds. Randy Cura has been with me for a good long time, and he's got lots of good content out there on Let's Go Fishing with Randy on his YouTube channel. You can check out a lot of the videos there. Dink over snake. Like I say, all of our pro staff has been just doing an amazing job. I'm proud of all of them. They all put out, videos when they can. Some gets a little more time out than others, but we understand that.
Yeah, we understand that because that's how it normally goes.
Yeah, you know what? You still got priorities in life, and you still got work. You still have other things, so hey, that's understandable. That's understandable.
But me, work is just kicking my butt right now.
Well, that in your bedroom.
Yeah, my bedroom is so completely torn apart, it's not even funny.
Yeah. Hey, you can take me off full screen now. That way they can see your pretty face, not mine.
Okay. Give me a minute. I'll be right with you on that one. I'm just doing this guard dog thing.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, la, 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 la. No, not billing it to him. Whoops, wrong info I put in. Now I gotta go back and redo it again. I ain't trying to bill it to him. So, like we were talking earlier, you were okay. There's just shipping. Okay.
No, it's free shipping, Avid.
Right. No, we were talking earlier about your first designs. What made you come up with the cord that you use?
Well, I'll tell you what, I knew that I was going to need, and matter of fact, believe it or not, I probably tested a dozen different cords. But the cord that's actually being used right now, guys, is actually just number 18 masonry string. Okay.
Really?
That's all it is number 18 masonry, just like bricklayers use, because it's weatherproof, it's waterproof, it's mildew proof, and it doesn't tangle. It's not a real easy tangling type string. So yeah, if you ever need to replace your tension strings or make them longer or what, just go buy a little thing of number 18 masonry string and you're good to go. It is braided. You want the braided. You don't want the twine, or the twisted. You want the braid, but it's just common string.
Just common string?
Yeah, common masonry string.
I thought it was stronger than that.
No, I'll tell you what, it's good, strong stuff. But again, it is the braid. That's what makes it a little stronger. It is the braid. So
that's what threw me for a loop, because I thought it was like a trout cord.
yeah. Well, I tried different. I went smaller. I went bigger. I wanted something that my main concern was tangling. I wanted something that was very, very simple, because you have to pick it up and put it back on, pick it up, put it back on. I sure didn't want the snags and tangles. Out of all the stuff, out of everything I tried, this was by far the best rope that I could put on it. So
that's what I kind of thought, because when I seen it, I was wondering why it wasn't so oily.
yeah,
if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, like I say, this if it drops in the water 100,000 times, it don't matter. It's completely waterproof. It's like I say, mildew and rot proof. So it'll last until it just wears out. Eventually.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So there again, if any of yous do, I know some people fish with some longer rods. I don't. I fish with 8 foot or normally 7.5, 8 foot rods, but one's a fish with a 10 or 12 foot, if that's what they prefer. You can always add a little extension, string to put your loop on, or if you really want to, just go to the hardware store for, I don't know how much money it is. I know it's not cheap. I think one of the 1,000-foot rolls is like $10 or $12 or something, but you can make any size tension string you want.
Well, all these little you got all these little boxes I keep forgetting to check. Almost done though. Go ahead and feel free to keep them entertained while I finish up here for a minute, would you?
Well, again, guys, I can't see chat, so I apologize.
Hold on, I'm going to go back to chat real quick so I can keep an eye on that.
Okay, I can't see that.
We have Lance that came in. RCT is best on the market, what he says.
Well, there you go, brother.
Warren says, works fun with my 10-foot ACC rods.
Good deal, Warren.
We have Creole Catfishing that came in. Welcome in,
Creole.
bud.
How you doing, brother?
We have Monty, you're doing a great job at it, is what Linda's saying.
Well, I'm not real good in front of the camera, but like I say, I'm getting a little more used to it. It's hard for me to talk. It's hard for me to know what people do know and what they don't know, and the questions. That's the reason I always usually try to, say, hey, if you've got anything, let me explain it to you, because there's nothing that's hard. There's nothing that's hard about this. But again, there's advantages that, it's physics, guys. It's absolutely physics. It's like dropping a ball, a baseball. If you've got a ball and you let go of it, it's going to fall to the ground. It has to. I mean, it's physics, it's gravity. It has to. It's not going to float. Well, with a guard dog, with the pressure applied, when that rod is bent and there's pressure applied to that string where it releases, it has to flip up and set that hook. So it's just basically simple physics, but there's no human reaction time. Like I said before, there's not a human reaction time that knows the exact second that fish is going to take off. There's nobody that can guess. Even if you're holding a pole in your hands, you're not going to be as fast as what the guard dog is going to know because of the physics, because of the physics. And guys, if any of you have any questions, please ask Avid. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not real good at this. So
no, it did not, Gray Wolf. You can repeat that again if you don't mind. I had a problem getting fish to set off my guard dog on my 10-foot spinning rod. Monty helped me out. Now it sets off like a hair trigger.
guys, the trigger, like I say, the little patent pending trigger adjustment, if you can just get used to knowing, again, when I set mine up, I normally set it up heavy to begin with, just when I'm setting it up. The last thing you want to do is once your bait's tossed out, you got your rod and your rod holder, you're reeling your slack like normal. The last thing you want to do is actually just adjust your trigger. And you just want to adjust it. Again, I'll adjust mine until that little nose is just barely hanging in that eye-tip. Well, if it trips, then I know I've got to go just a little bit heavier. I move it over just a little bit more where just a little more of that nose is, in that eye-tip. I'll do that until I find, hey, there's the water, or there's the best, the lightest I can go without tripping in this river current. You'll catch those dinky fish that way. You'll catch the big ones, but you'll still have the ability to catch the dinks that way. If you go too heavy, and a lot of people that start off, and I understand why, but a lot of people want to start off with that setting right in the middle. They just want to put it right in the middle. Well, it ain't too heavy, it ain't too light. Guys, that's the wrong way to think about it, because 9 times out of 10, your water conditions is not going to be where you're fishing, where you're going to want to fish right in the middle. If you're fishing calmer waters, you're going to want to go to that lighter side to move that little nose back out farther. Let me grab this rod tip eye again. Let me show you something. Let me see if you can see that. But when I'm fishing a lighter water, I'm going to have that nose so it's almost ready to trip. That way, just the slightest little pull and it's going to trip. If I'm fishing heavier currents and it's going to trip on me, or I'm using a live bait, I'm going to move that nose in deeper. So it takes a lot to trip. You can go anywhere you want to go based on your water conditions. That's the secret. And it's as easy as just sliding this little rope to get your trigger setting. You slide it.
And Jello, your order is placed, and I will be sending you your order number.
And I'll get that after a bit. So I'll get that out for you tomorrow. I'll have it in the mail tomorrow afternoon for you.
And there you go. Sorry it took so long. Website was giving me a little bit of a grief. Being a little bit of a pain in my butt.
It's usually pretty easy to order one, though, Evan.
No, it's ordering it wasn't the hard part. It's getting it to take my card.
Oh, okay. I start saying normally it's pretty simple. Name, address, phone number, and how many you want.
Right. Linda Peterson is saying, that is what? I don't know what she's talking about. I missed something there. So Grey Wolf, right? Mike Graham is posted on Facebook. He says he took a fishing spoon to the back.
Oh wow!
That ain't cool because those are big hooks with his fishing spoons.
Oh wow!
Linda, are you wanting a guard dog? I have a funny feeling she wants a guard dog.
Well, like I say, don't change your style of fishing, guys. Fish like you normally do. Just put one on a rod you don't have to watch. Just put one or two on a rod. If you're out there casting or catching bait like I do, when I'm bait fishing and I'm out there, I'm walking up and down the bank with a rod and reel trying to catch bait. I'll set up a couple rods at nighttime when I'm sitting around the campfire and I'm talking to some buddies or doing whatever else. I'll set up a couple guard dogs 20 yards away from me, 15 yards away from me, and you hear them, Avid. You hear them when they go off. They got a distinct little tink. You'll hear them. You don't need a bell because you'll hear them.
I tell you what, half the time, ouch. That picture is nasty that he took to the back. He got both hooks in his back. Both his treble hooks are buried in his back.
Yeah, I bet that hurt a little bit.
Yeah. No. I ain't going to post those pictures. No. That'd make me cringe. But you got a great product. You got a great team.
Well, we've been blessed. I'll tell you what, God has blessed us, Avid. I'll tell you what, I give him all the glory and all the credit on it. I just have to sort of do my part. But no, this idea, like I say, this idea stayed in my head for 11 years. And for it to last that long and just never would go away, I knew that it was something that was from him and not from me. So
we got Carolina Lake Weights that came in, Rebecca and Jamie, which are amazing people.
Hey, and again, anybody that's new to the broadcast or new to the stream, the Smoky Mountain Expo this weekend, we'll be down there. If you come in, be sure to, come by our booth. Me and Brad Caudell and Julie, our Vice President Guard Dog, we'll have several people in our booth. Love to get to meet you in person.
Is that you, Jamie, or is that Rebecca? I don't know which one you are. I just missed something. And here comes the rain.
It's so hot, man. It is just muggy here. It is just crazy muggy here.
Jamie, have Rebecca shoot me a message. I need to reschedule a show that we had set up. But what is the best advice you could give beginning people that have just starting out in catfishing?
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. You hear all the time. Well, it's got to be a certain rod. It's got to be a certain, bait. It's got to be a certain whatever. My advice to people that's just starting off is start off with, just an average rod and reel. I'll tell you, any rod and reel that's halfway decent is going to work fine. Bait. If a fish don't want to eat it, you're not going to catch a fish. So, 90% of catching a fish is what bait you got. Sort of get used to, testing, trying out in your waters, in your area. Normally catfish, like any other catfish, they're pretty prone to want to eat what's common in their waters.
Right.
Can you use anything else? Absolutely. I've used chicken liver for years for channel cats. I've used a little bit of anything and everything through the years.
No. What would
So
you say about researching?
there's not one perfect anything when it comes to catfish. Not one perfect rod, not one perfect guard dog, not one perfect. It's all trial and error, but it comes pretty easy for those starting out.
No, guard dogs is it's a good product. It's not a magic product.
No, it's just another tool, Avin.
Right, exactly. That's what I was trying to put out. It's like it's another tool.
Do you need a guard dog catch fish? Absolutely not. People's been catching fish for thousands and thousands of years without a guard dog.
If you're trying to catch that fish that's finicky,
if you're trying to give yourself just a little edge on putting on a pull or two, like I say, I don't change my way of fishing. I still fish like I used to when I was 10 years old, but I set up a pull or two, away from me a little bit. I set it, I forget it. It picks me up them 1, 2, 3 extra fish that I might not have caught any other way, And I guess my drug is not the hook set, guys, because there again, most circle hook users know it ain't about the hook set because most of them's just reeling. That's how they set the hook, just reeling. It ain't about jerking and swinging. That a hook set nowadays is not the thrill of fishing.
No, I will say this: the hook set is not the thrill.
The tug is the drug. I'm telling you, the tug is the drug. That's it.
The drug, but the adrenaline rush is the fight.
That's it. You still got you've still got to know how to fish to bring one in.
You got to know your drag. You got to know your line. You got to know your hooks, your rigs, your knots.
Well, and it's just like
that tug of the drug is. I tell you what.
That's the game. That's the game. People again. When I told somebody one time, I used to love deer hunting. I loved it.
Randy, you said a mouthful there. I'm going to post this one on chat to where everybody can read it, but I'm going to say it out loud. Live bait on the hook works great with a guard dog too. By the way, I use live bluegills with them all day.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, Randy, how you doing, brother? Yeah, I'll tell you what, live bait, you can use the guard dogs, like I say, for almost any type of fishing scenario you want to get into. Of course, you can't use them for like bumping, or something like that on a boat. But if you want to slow troll with a guard dog, man, they work good. If you want to, sit out there on a boat and anchor down, they work great. Again, on the bank, they work perfect. On ice fishing rod and reels, they work great. Randy, the one that just sent that comment, he compared the guard dogs up against the jaw jackers on ice fishing last year, and man, the jaw jackers done. The guard dogs done fantastic, even with ice rods. So
I was going to say, you got jaw jackers?
No, he compared it against the jaw jacker.
Okay. Now, someone was mentioned earlier in chat. What do you think about guard dogs on ice fishing?
Oh, ask Randy Cura. He's got videos that can prove it. I think he beat the jaw jacker. The guard dogs beat the jaw jacker the day that he made the video. I think 5 fish to 2. So yeah, they work well. They work well.
I know the jaw jackers are an ice fishing device.
Right. That's all they're for. That's all they're for. But there again, if you can buy one tool that you can put in your tackle box, and Avid, they only weigh a half an ounce. They're so light. They're so light. You can put a dozen in a tackle box and never even know you've got it. But
Gary Wolf, I will answer that question for you. As Monty says, it does work on boats.
Absolutely.
You can use it for slow troll, drifting, not bottom bouncing, but hanging off the edge of the boat with bait maybe a foot or two off the bottom, that worked great.
Yeah, just like I said, as long as you ain't tripping them on the grass or a rock or something like that. But again, that's
If
part of
you're anchored in the boat and you got your lines casted out, you can send them up on the guard dog.
That's perfect. We've got people do it every day.
Every
Docks. I'll tell you what, a lot of people's putting them on their back, porch docks that live on the water. They're really nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, to be able, and I know, Ava, just like with you do a lot of live streams. Man, isn't it nice to know that you've got a dog or two on duty where you can go and actually entertain your crowd, read chat, talk to you. And when one goes off, man, hey, there's your tug, there's your drug.
I got one. I just haven't bought me another one yet.
Yeah. You got the green one, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the dark hunter's green.
Yeah.
That's the one I like the best because, I tell you what, I don't need to see it.
No.
Because I know the reaction of the rod when it goes off.
Yeah, and you know what? When it falls, you're not going to lose it because you got the string right there. You can just,
you'll hear it.
It ain't going nowhere.
No, you'll hear it because I have it tied to my rod holder, so it ain't going nowhere.
No. And
I just had a little heavy on the chunky catch rod when it bent over.
My advice is start heavy, go as light as you can go until you feel like, hey, it's starting to trip. Then just go a quarter inch over heavier. You know what I'm saying? That way, hey, it's set up for a real light fish.
Yeah, because I put a live bullhead.
Yeah.
11-inch bullhead on that rod.
Yeah, and it held it well, didn't it?
Well, I didn't want to set the light because I tried it once when I was setting it up in the backyard.
Right.
I slapped myself right up the middle of the nose of the rod setting it up.
That ain't good.
No,
I suggest everybody stand to the side of it when you're trying to set it up.
I wasn't thinking about it. I was behind it when they did. I'm like, okay, I got this. I was like, ping, pow.
Yeah. But no, like
all that happened is I had the line tied to a fence post, and I was setting it up, and a bird hit the line when I had it set.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And I got slapped.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, but live bait, like I say, you can use live bait all you want to. That's why I say, man, I'll tell you what, that trigger system is the patent. That is the design is the functionality, but the specialty and the one of the kind uniqueness is having a trigger adjustment that can go from a hair trigger all the way up to that really heavy current trigger.
Oh, yeah. The Mississippi River current, which I've tried it on.
With one tool. One tool.
Now, I was going to ask you, you can use whatever type of rig you want on that one, right? On your line with the guard dog.
Yes. Use anything you like. And
I use the Carolina rig a lot of the times.
I do too. But just remember in your head, you know what? Hey, how this works is that fishing line is being pulled enough to apply trip pressure. Like I say, it's a physics basis. Once that string is pulled just enough to trip it, it's going to release. Well, in your mind, no, if a fish is coming towards you, it's not going to trip. But if a fish is coming directly towards you, that's the one time a guard dog is not going to trip.
No.
It's not going to pull the line, And there's
when that line goes slack, you have to crank down on it.
Right. There's going to be times where, you know what, if you're there and you see the line slack in, you might want to take the guard dog off and, play it yourself. But
you got to play it a whole lot differently when that line goes slack.
Right. It's not 100%, but it is an advantage. And it does up the odds on your normal fishing.
It ups the odds quite a bit.
Yeah, I think River Rat told me that he was like at 85% hookup last time he was checking. He was catching about 85% of the fish he was. Some fish grab the bait, not the hook. You're not going to get them. You're just not going to hook them if the hook's not in the mouth. There's
Randy says,
sometimes that fish may swim towards you where you've got to hook it yourself. If you're not paying attention or you're someplace else and that fish swims towards you, you're going to miss it anyway because you ain't there yourself. So, but it gives you that one advantage of having that instant hook set on those real quick one and done bites, where it just bends real hard and then all of a sudden lets loose. And you see that a lot.
Randy has a good statement. This one just made me laugh. I still go running, giggling like a little kid on Christmas every time it sets off.
I'll tell you what, and he's caught tons and tons and tons with it too.
We have Cat Claw's journey to the riverbanks.
Well, hey Adam. Hey Adam, how you doing, brother?
Welcome in, Adam. Adam, if you'd like to come up and talk with us, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know and I'll drop the link for you.
Yeah, matter of fact, Adam is the same gentleman, guys. I showed you that his Cat Claws rod holders earlier.
Yeah, I was watching him in his one of his lives when he's building one.
Right. And like I say, I had him make this one specifically just for me with the metal plate. Normally, this is open, so you can set a rod at a 45 or up and down or whatever else. But yeah, get with Adam if you guys are looking for a really nice rod holder.
The harder you had that rod set with a guard dog, is the harder that hook's going to get set.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The rod holder has a lot to do with it because you got to remember when that pull springs back, if it's in a loose rod holder, all that shock absorber is going to go into the rod holder. You know what I'm saying?
My thing is with my rod holders, the spring loaded rod holders, they'll pull and get that rod holder locked onto that rod handle. Then the Cat Claws will take over, or the guard dog will take over.
Right.
Because the spring-loaded rod holders are meant to grab that rod and hold on to it.
Right. Well, like I say, everybody has their own unique ways of doing things. My advice is, you know what, guys, I didn't come up with this product to try to change anything you like doing. If you like sticking a rod at 45-degree angle on the bank, that's fine. You can use the guard dogs even on the bank at 45 degrees or higher. Now, the more up you go, the more upright you get, the more the bend there is in the rod for a little better hook set. Don't get me wrong. It's still a little better if you're on the bank to leave just a slight tilt. But if you go to a 45, it'll still work, but there ain't quite as hard a hook set on it.
Already did, Tim. Adam said he'll come up for a minute.
Yeah, he's been on vacation with his sweetie this weekend. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
I know his wife caught a nice flatty last night.
That's good. Yeah, I'm glad to see him doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? That's what it's all about.
No, Randy says guard dogs and Cat Claws are winning combination.
Guys, I'll tell you what, like I say, for me, I like things, that work for me. I like things that's quality made. I like things that I know if I leave my guard dog down there 20 yards away, set up in the dark, that if a big fish takes off, that when I get there, my rod's still going to be in that rod holder. I'm just sort of particular. Of course, I grew up really simple, just a humble lifestyle. So I'm not used to that fancy, stuff. I'm really not used to it. But whenever I'm out there doing something, hunting, fishing, stuff that I really enjoy, I want something that I can feel comfortable with. I want something I feel really, safe with.
I was wondering, this just came to mind because I know there's a few people out there that limb line.
Yes, I'm telling you what, them things work. You ought to try that, Avid. You ought to try a diddy pull or whatever.
No, I was just thinking, would it work if you did the limb line?
Well, it probably would, but it sort of defeat the purpose. You know, the good thing about the
Right.
guard dog, guys, there's some states that is really critical on spring operated stuff. That's like your yo-yos. You know, the old spring operated
Uh-huh.
yo-yos they used off limb lines.
Yeah,
Them's,
I still
them's,
have 4 or 5 of them.
them's illegal in a lot of states
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want nothing spring operated or mechanical operated. Well, that's the good thing about the guard dog is there's nothing spring operated or nothing mechanical operated. It's the fish that's tripping it. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're legal in every state but Minnesota. Minnesota it's the same way with your jaw jackers. They're legal in every state except for Minnesota. Minnesota's got some funky laws up that way.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah, they do. Matter of fact, they can have like one rod. They can have. I mean, it's funky rules up there.
That is crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is Minnesota so strict on something like that?
You know, I think it's because the tourists all come up there for the fishing. You know what I'm saying? The land of
Right.
1,000 lakes and all that goody stuff. And I,
Yeah,
I, I,
land of
I think
10,000 lakes.
I think they're really conservative when it comes to management because that's their number one industry is tourism.
That's the number one industry is the fishing industry, but they have slot limits and fishing seasons for certain fish that you have to be up there a certain time just to catch what you want and a slot limit to catch it and keep it in.
Right. Well, matter of fact, Don R, of course, he's out in Nebraska. And when he first started looking at the guard dogs, he asked a game warden or somebody in the game warden office about the guard dogs, and they said, no, them's not legal. And I said, Don, I believe they're wrong. Let me check. So I called the wildlife, the actual head office.
Right.
And I got a response back from them. They said, yes, as long as, you're around your rods, they don't want you keeping them there overnight with nobody there. They want them manned, but they're perfect.
Right.
They're perfectly legal in all the states except for Minnesota.
Linda says fishing bears, deers are up in Minnesota, Avid. Oh, I know they are. But Minnesota is also a land of 10,000 lakes, and Bigfoot lives up there for the food. And the cheese.
What, I used to fish Minnesota. I used to walleye and pike fish up there. It was called Pelican Lake in Minnesota. They got 2 of them, but it's beautiful. I mean, they got some beautiful lakes.
I tell you what, they got some monster walleye up there.
They do.
23 to 30 pound walleyes. I tell you what, those are really great.
Oh yeah.
Ricky says, great live, Avid and Monty. I got to get some sleep for work. May all have a blessed night.
Ricky, have a blessed evening, brother. Thanks for coming in.
But I tell you what, I love my style of fishing, but knowing a guard dog is in my tackle box is there if I need it or want to use it is great.
And the best thing about it, Avid, is like I say, especially people like you, because you actually, when you're filming, you're quite a ways away from your rods. A lot of times your back's away from the pole. Even people say, well, put a bell on it, put a bell. Hey, there's a lot of times, guys, I couldn't count the number of fish I've lost that had one good hard hit. I mean, my pole was down and all of a sudden it was back up. I mean, it was down for, 2 or 3 seconds. It felt the bait and it spit the bait. This is just another tool that ups your odds on taking care. And I really call them, they're my side poles. I love setting a few side rods up that I don't have to be real close to. If I've got 3 rods sitting right in front of me and I'm sitting in a chair watching all 3 of them for hour after hour, I'm only covering so much water.
Yeah, you're not covering much water at all.
If I can take one 20, 25 yards to the right of me, one 20, 25 yards to the left of me, man, I'm covering a lot of water. And I know when I get there, that fish is hooked. You know, I know it's already hooked.
But I will say this about the bells. I have 10, 12, 18 foot heavy action rods.
Yes.
And when I catch cats, they bend those rods over slow that they're not going to even ring those bells.
Mr. Adam.
Hey, Adam, welcome in.
How's it going?
But when you have guard dog on there and it's pulling ever so slowly, it will slowly trip that trigger in the guard dog.
Yes. But you know what? If you've got the trigger set up pretty much like it's supposed to be, the guard dog will trip before that you even hear that bell. Because the rod starts bending and releases instantly. Well, that bell, normally, that's when you hear it. Am I not right, Adam? You don't fish with bells much, though, do you?
Uh-oh.
I do. I always have bells. Even with the guard dogs, I'll put like when I flathead fish, like this past week, I had a live bluegill on there, and I actually had a channel cat last night. And I had my guard dog set extremely heavy just because I want that flathead to grab it and give it a good pull with the circle hook. Right. But I had a channel cat that kept grabbing the bluegill, and I was sitting in my tent, like peeking out, watching my rod because it couldn't pull the guard dog off because I had it so heavy. So I was just sitting there for like a half an hour, just grabbing it, dropping it, grabbing it, dropping it. But eventually, I got a little channel cat, but I got him in there. I had a little bluegill on there, so it worked out.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, with the product you both got, there's nothing against you guys' product. It just the way I was raised, you stick with what you know that works.
Everybody.
And I was raised that you don't go buying everything that's coming out new on the market.
Well, you know what? There's been way too many fishing gimmicks.
Right. I'm not saying gimmicks or anything. I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying there has been. You can go into Walmart right now and look on their store shelves. And guys, I guarantee you half the stuff on their shelves don't work. They just don't work, period. They sell it every day, but
they make money off of something that don't work.
But the point about it is why buy something if you ain't going to like it after you use it?
Oh, I like both. I like the guard dog. I like Cat Claw's design of his rod holders.
Yes.
I'm just so used to my spring-loaded rod holders, how they act and react with the rods and the fish.
Yes.
It just something's tried and true. There's nothing wrong with Cat Claw's rod holders. I want to try one and compare it.
I'll tell you what you'd like. You really would
I'll
love
tell you something about them rod holders, though. I got them. And when you get a set hook, it's kind of like a spring. It's kind of like spring in it. It's not got a spring in it, but it's got a spring action to it as it works. The way he's got that design.
With a heavy fish, it's got some give.
Yeah, it does. It springs back and forth. I love them, man.
I made them small, like a little bit thinner than most, because most people do the 3/8, but I went with the 5/16, cold rolled. But I mean, it's got that spring. I like that little flex to it. It helps out with the rod, but
it does.
Well, I like a step. My favorite part's the step because, guys, I'll tell you what.
You got that foot part where you can just push it down in there.
Not only that, Avid, but I'll tell you what, if you picture most of your rod holders, even with the dual stakes, if they're just going straight up, well, there's still some give. All you got is two prongs in the ground. You know what I'm saying? With this bottom plate here, actually, when it's against the ground, that plate won't let it move any further, because it's pressing against the ground. It's like a brace, They're rock solid, buddy. I'm telling you. And I don't promote, of course, Adam can tell you, I don't make a penny off his stuff. I don't want, I wouldn't recommend nothing if I didn't believe in it. But that's my go-tos now. And I know River Rat has used 1,000 different rod holders in his life. they're something pretty nice, ain't they, River Rat?
They're the best.
They really are.
That's Catfish Dog's take on Walmart fishing department.
Well, you know, how many times have you walked in Walmart and seen all their stink bait that you couldn't catch a fish if you laid it out there for 10 years with?
Oh,
You know what I'm
trust
saying?
me.
They sell it every day.
They got blood baits out there that's been on shelves and markets for years that they're trying to sell that has lost their zest, that lost their power, and lost their pungent.
I can't stand the smell of it.
Well, again, that's the reason. If you can buy something quality that's going to last, if it works like it's supposed to work, man, I'll tell you, that's what that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for.
I'm eventually going to end up buying a Cat's Claws rod holder sometime just to compare it to my rod holder.
If you get one, I'd like you to do a review on it. Seriously, I'd like for you to do a review on one because I think you will really, really be impressed. I really do.
He will be.
I'm not opposed. Anybody that gets them, you give a review. I don't, your honest opinion. I'm not the person that gets mad at somebody if they have, different things. It just helps me to grow and make something, a little bit different.
If I give my review, it's going to be an honest, biased review. It's
exactly.
not going to be
that's what I like.
One way or to the other because I want to see just.
That's what I told Adam.
Something new and something tried and true.
Adam, That's what I told Avid. I said, all I want your honest thoughts. And you guys as pro staff, you guys know me pretty well.
And
I'm pretty
so
particular.
far, the only thing I've seen.
But the thing about it is one thing that I do, I demand from a pro staff is I want complete and total honesty. If something isn't, if they say, hey, I wouldn't recommend it for this, or I wouldn't, hey, that's fine and dandy with me because we've got a product good enough that I really don't feel like we have to make a bunch of excuses on it. But I want them to know when they get it, there ain't no surprises. They know what they're getting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They know what they're getting.
And when you do get one, you do like I do. It's the best thing to do is take it out to your backyard, set it up just like you're gonna set it up at the river, play with it.
I did that once, and I got a rod right square between my eyes. Due to a freaking bird.
He had a bird flying.
Oh my god!
I ain't doing that one again. Standing directly behind the rod and setting it up, and a hummingbird hit the line, and it just snapped right in my face. No.
Well, like I say, guys, I ain't trying to sell nothing. I don't have to try. That's the good thing. When you got a good product, you don't have to try to sell nothing. But you do need to make it known. People, again, just like I was talking about earlier in the show, we've only been out since the end of January. So we ain't been out long. Most of the country doesn't even know if you mention a guard dog, they'd say, what's that? What's that? Well, it takes a little time. I've got a 3-year forecast for this really to take off, to the scale I want it to take off. Like Avid, we've been approached by Cabela's and Walmart. I know we can get into those stores when we're ready. I'm not ready for that yet, but I don't want a product, like I said before, I don't want a product that I have to make excuses on. I don't want a product that I have to give any kind of excuses. That's the reason, even as good as the dogs are right now, though, that's the reason that little nose is going to be shortened just a little bit.
Right.
To take care of the one little issue that I could make an improvement on,
Right. Dominic says Monty's being really modest about the dogs, which I do agree. Monty's being modest, but ever since you found out that there was an issue with that little trigger, you fixed it because most rods have that little tiny square hole in it and everything.
Well, the only ones that I'm having issue with really is the Uncle Lou. The Mad Cats are fine. Like I say, your Ugly Sticks are fine. Your Berkeleys are fine. Your Ripping Lips is fine. Most of them's fine. It's just the Uncle Lou's has got those sort of a square, thicker eye. It's got that thicker eye. And that little straight nose, like I say, but the next go around, that will be tweaked. That will be.
Right. And Cat Claus, how long have you been out with your rod holders?
I made them I made two of them for myself 3 years ago, but it was the straight up and down style. And then my buddies were telling me that I should, try to sell them since I work at a metal shop or whatever. And then I was like, oh, I put it online to see if anyone was interested. Well, that's when I found out that that takedown rod holder, because he contacted me saying that, or somebody said something that those were already being made. So I'm like, all right, I scratched that idea. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll just not do it. And then I'm like, probably 10 minutes later, I'm like thinking in my head, like, oh, I wonder if I make a stomp plate for it and make a little bit unique design. And so it was about 2.5 years ago when I made two of them for myself, or two or three. And then my buddies wanted them. And then that's where it kind of took off. So last year was kind of beginning of the year was the main time I started selling them.
Now, what gave you the idea to add the third hold where you could add a third stake in the middle of that?
I went to the Mississippi last year, river out west in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and where we fish is a lot of sandy areas, super sandy, super soft. Right. I just had some extra rod. I'm like, oh, I'll drill a hole in my plate and bring these spikes just in case, if I need the extra support. And my buddy brought his he didn't have spikes, so he didn't use them. He caught actually a 30-pound flathead. I didn't catch anything that day, or that weekend, but he caught that big one, and we were 40 yards away from his rod when it went down. And I mean, it held. And this year I brought the spikes with me this time, but then instead of using them, I used the spikes to stake down our tent. And I just buried my pad about 2 inches underneath the sand and then I compacted that down. And I mean, my wife caught her, was her PB of 32 pounds. No problem. I mean, that's what I usually do now is I'll just take my plate, bury it and if I'm in sand, I'll just bury it about that much and then compact that down and put your rod right on the ground then basically.
Right. But Adam, besides the solidness, I was telling them a while ago, there's what I like.
Yeah. That was a crazy kind of
carabiner. Man, I can put my guard dog loop on that in half a second. I can take it off in a half a second, and there ain't nothing more stable. There's nothing more stable. So,
the time I made that hole, it was for a design I was making to make like a taller attachment to put on that rod holder for, a taller plate that you could stake down, and then that could just use a hole to put a screw in it. Right. And then that's when I kind of got in contact with you a little bit, and then I'm like, once I got the guard dogs, I tried on, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll just keep this hole instead of using like the spike in front of the rod holder. And so I'm like, well, I might as well just keep it in there because it works perfect for the guard dogs attachment.
River rat, is that how you attach yours to a little carabiner on the cat claws?
No, I just got it tied through the hole.
Through the
you tie it right to the hole?
Yeah, I just go straight through the hole. I just ain't got the little tie like y'all got. I just got it tied through.
But I have noticed though, if you can get a little bit longer carabiner, like on my kids, they have like a
carabiner though. It'd probably save you string.
They got like the 440 series or 4000 series Cast Kings. Sometimes you just got to make sure when you put that tensioner string down, you just make sure it gets in front of your reel because it can get behind it. I have a video where Oakley, he catches that 12-pound flathead, but when he put that the guard dog on, it was around his reel. So when he picked it up and he was trying to reel, the line got stuck in it. So you always just on the spinning cast or the spinning reels, you just got to make sure you get that around the reel before you walk away.
I usually just push it out and just spin it and get it tight like I want it.
You
just got to.
But other than that, I mean, it works great.
Hey, River Rat, have you got any thoughts though, as far as you can tell the audience? Like I said, I can't see the audience. Maybe you guys can, but Is there any suggestions that you think maybe I've missed? I told him about you, River Rat. You don't bend your pole very much at all
Nah,
when you're setting up the
you
guard.
don't need much bending. You just need enough for it to set the trigger off. A lot of people like it little. I just like you. You just gotta get used to what you like. Best I can say it that way. Just get used to the way you want it, and
You just gotta
that's
find
the
the
way
sweet
I've done it.
spots.
I just
Find
get it
sweet
used to
spots.
Now, River Rat, since you use both devices together,
Right.
what's your opinion? What is your honest, biased opinion on them?
Oh, I love them. They a perfect combination to me. I mean, why I got them cat claw rods is because I lost $100 fishing rod, and
Ouch.
and he heard about it and he sent them to me, and I ain't lost 1 cent. Once you set a rod in that rod holder, it don't come out unless you take it out. And if the guard dog, if you want to say the guard dog, I tell Monty it's about 85% proof to me to be caught. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, just like everything else. It's not perfect, but I've caught fish where it's run the line in, it didn't set the trigger off. Obviously it's not going to set it off. But the way I done it, when they do that, I kind of just wind my line, because as long as that line's in that tensioner, you can spin your reel. It'll work. It'll go right through it. It won't set the guard dog off until it pulls outward. Yeah, I mean, this I just love them, man. I use them all the time. I wouldn't go fishing without them. I've actually changed my fishing style on account of the guard dog and cat claw rods.
You've been
All right.
killing it this year too.
I want
Yeah,
to
I
say
think-
good night to Randy. He's leaving. He's going to bed, and we have
Here's Randy.
Hey, Randy,
Curtis
take care,
has a
brother.
question for you, Cat Claws. He wants to know, how does a cat claws work in muddy situations?
I don't have one of the spikes handy with me, but every cat claw comes with a 3/8 12-inch spike meant to put in this first hole. I mean, you can't put in the front one. I always just kind of would put in this one. But yeah, I mean, muddy situations, I've been in soupy, sandy situations without a spike. And like I said, my wife, 45 yards away from my rod, she pulled up a almost 32-pound flathead, no problem. And we weren't really ready for it. I mean, last night, I kept my 3 rods. I had 3 rod holders on a bench on a pier last night. I just left them out there. I mean, I had the clickers on. I had a guard dog on one of them, but unfortunately, I didn't catch anything. But I trust. I'll leave them out there some nights with just no clickers on, and hopefully, I wake up. I've never lost a rod with any of these or anything close to it. But
it won't come out at rod holder once you set it in there.
No.
Unless you
I mean,
I've
ran it so far. I've had to run
Okay.
65 yards to my rod when it's pinned to the ground, like hitting the water. I mean, I trust them.
I'll tell you another thing.
$100.
If you look where I fish at, most of the places that place I fish at, it stays muddy all the time, and I still got my 3rd rod. I haven't used them. I don't put them in there. It stays, and I've caught over 50 pounders in the last week, and they hold up, man.
That's the benefit with even this the softer soils, that top pad that acts as a stabilizer, keeps your spikes in there. So when your pad tries to go down, you got that extra
the front,
pad,
not the back.
that ground clearance or that ground surface right where it needs to be. I mean, those spikes are only 9 to 10 inches, but I mean,
and they act like they're about 2
all
foot
you
long.
need. Yeah.
Well, that's because of that pad. That's the reason they stay in the ground so good, is because that pad it pushes right against the ground. There's no give, So, hey,
That's
Craig, thank you, brother.
I mean,
He's in here. Thanks for coming in, brother.
I've made other rod holders similar to other styles to test them. I have a sandbox in the backyard, and I've made other ones and did, both test with both. And I mean, just like the straight up and down ones, they fold easy. Mine, that's why I never changed really much in my design, because I've had other designs and thought they were going to work great. And I mean, this one's always outperformed every one that I've tried,
Hey,
even with
Curtis.
longer spikes.
Curtis, good to see you in here, brother. Now I can tell you the guard dogs are $19.95 with free shipping. You can use a promo code from one of our pro staff. Again, I'll let them put the promo codes in the thing to save you a little more money. I'll let
Go ahead
Adam.
and use Dink5.
I'll let
Yeah.
you. I'll let Adam tell you about his cat claws.
Well, you can. I mean, I can't post a link on here, but I got a Facebook at just Cat Claws Rod Holder LLC, or you can go on there if you get on there, and then I got my website as well as just catclawrodholders.com.
And what are they
But,
priced
I
at?
mean,
What are they
the
priced
price
at?
right now is $29 or $25.99, but there are Dink's got a promo code, Dink10. Lance has got one, Lance 10. But I did just get a new welder. I was getting everything done by my shop, and then prices kind of jumped up from them. So I just say goodbye to some of that, and I bought a welder just last week and got that all hooked up. I got the 220. I actually just tested it out today, and it's working awesome. So we'll see. I might change the prices a little bit, go down a little bit, but right now I'm going to keep it kind of close to what's at until I can kind of get back into the groove again.
I want to say good night to
It is
Lindsay
perfect.
Anderson, and thank you for sharing links and
Thank
sharing
you,
channels.
Lance. Thank you, Dink.
Thank you, buddy.
But yeah, I mean, I know
Good night.
I used to, when last year and even early this year, before I started LLC for it, but I was selling them at $15 just for the rod holder, no spike involved. But that was like a steal for people. Especially everything's fully TIG welded, cold rolled steel, super solid. But I know I jumped up to $25.99, but I mean, it's all worth it compared to, I mean, I clean everything on them. As you can see on the bottom of these, they got the weld marks, but I get all those off there. I clean everything. There's no grease, nothing on them.
Guys, I'll tell you what. Of course, I painted mine, and all I did is run just a damp rag over mine before I painted it. I mean, it was ready to go. There wasn't no slag, there wasn't no grease, there wasn't no oil. It was ready to go.
I use mine straight out of the box.
Now you can share the link.
They do rust. I mean, it is steel, so I mean, some of the stuff I do, like cleaning them all. I mean, I put an etch on it. It says Cat Claws on the pad. I laser etch that in there. It's all just little things I like to do, even though it's going to get painted or it gets rusted. But I mean, for me, that's just more it's a passion to make something look nice. And
now
people can do whatever they want with it after that.
Cat Claws, when you first started out with your rod holders, you said you started them out with straight up.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but before I even started selling them, I watched River Certified, so Spencer from River Certified, and I've always tried to find them back in the day. I'm like, where someone's got to make them. Never found them, so I just made some, and then that's when I posted it, and then someone said I was copying somebody, but I mean, I wasn't intentional. It was because I wanted a rod holder like that until I designed my own.
So Spencer Certified gave you the idea to put the step in there.
No, he just gave me the idea of the straight vertical up and down one. And I was sick of using the spiral ones because that's what I used. Then I went to PVC pipe with like a fence post, and then those eventually broke a year after I started using them.
Every time I use a PVC pipe on a river, it cracks and breaks with a catfish.
So I used that for a year, and then finally I was always watching him. I'm like, I got to find something like that, and then never found out about them or found any until I made it because I put a picture on Facebook, and then that's when someone called me out saying I copied the takedown rod holders, which I didn't on that. It wasn't even for that. It was because I just saw it on Spencer from River Certified. But that's when I designed my own unique way of doing it to put the pad in there and the stomper.
Well,
And
they were,
Okay.
you know, I don't know how you got there, but what you got now, I'll tell you what, I enjoy them.
with with cat's claws and guard dogs, according
Perfect
to
combination.
what I've heard, both working together. How what do you guys think of that?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to both of you because a lot of anglers have cat's claw rod holders, and they got the guard dog, and they find out they work well together.
Yep. Well, I mean, the only reason I discovered I've known about the guard dogs for a little bit, but the only way I found out kind of the cat claw and the dogs were from Dink over Stink, because he recently bought one from me, and then got the guard dog, and then he became guard dog pro staff, and then that's when he made a video using mine, and he's like, "Hey, I gotta show you this video, like." You got to try this out. And then then I got curious. I'm like, oh yeah, this looks pretty sweet. And I'm like, and then when I got the guard dog, I already knew in my head, like what I was going to do with that front hole. I'm like, everyone was saying, put the spike in there in front of it. I'm like, well, I'm going to test out the hole. And then, yeah, that just clicked right there for me. I'm like, it's a no brainer. Like just something easy to hook up. I just keep my guard dogs wrapped around my cat claws. I mean, sometimes I don't use them, but when I'm needing them, I got them set up for my kids' rod holders. So my kids love using them. Oakley's just a crazy boy when it comes to his guard dog and fishing. And I just enjoy watching them sometimes just fish, just sit there and watch Oakley go at it. And they love it. So I mean, 100% in.
I think River Rat probably, I know he's probably caught as many big fish, consistently as anybody that I know, basically. I mean, he's a fish slayer.
Yep.
But River Rat, I knew when he used him the first time, I told River Rat to call me and give me his honest thoughts, like I do everybody.
I tell you what, me and River Rats has talked a lot over these guard dogs.
Well, it's like Randy Cure and a lot of other people. They said, Monty, I don't care if I even wasn't pro staff or didn't know you at all. I'd be using them every day anyway. I just love them. And that's sort of what River Rat said. He said, hey, buddy, I love them. I just love them. They will change your style of fishing a little, don't they? I mean, you don't have to change your personal style.
Yeah.
But it changes your techniques a little bit, your thinking, because it gives you some advantages, that you just ain't got on your own. That's the good part. But
well, like us, like we go camping a bunch with a bunch of people, a bunch of kids all the time, and it's nice just having those and setting them up. And I mean, we could be playing, camping games and whatnot, and we don't even know when a pole goes off half the time. And it's nice with just having those on, and all of a sudden you hear a dink, or someone hears it, and then they look over and they're like, "Guard dog down!" And we all go running over there, and it's a ball. And then the kids just get into it too. It just makes them more excited to get out there and work on their own stuff.
It's got a distinct sound.
It's almost like a little game to the kids.
And that's like 2 nights ago. I sitting in my boat, cleaning out the boat after we got fish on the boat, and I threw 2 lines out on the pier. I was actually using my kids' rods on the pier with the guard dogs, and I'm working and cleaning up the boat, and all of a sudden the guard dog, all of a sudden it flings, hits the side of the dock and makes a noise. I'm like, get up. I jump over the railing of the pier. My shoe falls off. I grab the rod. I reel the fish in, and then I was all pumped, and then put the fish back in the water, and then I lost my shoe. Well, there's a nail sticking up, and I stubbed my toe right on top of the nail. Ow. Didn't even realize I cut myself. I was so excited for catching the fish, and I was like, oh. And 10 minutes later, I'm like, man, my foot still hurts. And then I thought the catfish left all the blood on the pier. Well, it was my toe. It was a big gash in it. But, yeah, man, it's fun just having that extra.
Y'all see that?
Cool. Hold on a minute.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Live bait.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Nice.
That's what my nephew got for my birthday.
That's
Awesome.
That's nice. That's
That's
really
what
nice.
I know. I changed the subject, but
Well, that's nice.
I started
bro.
seeing it in the back of my head back there. I could see it. He brought it over to me the other day. He said, "Look what I found on the side of the river, on the side of the road." I said, "Now what would somebody throw that away for?"
Hey, now River Rat, are you coming to the expo?
I'm gonna try.
Well, make sure you stop in. Of course, if you, I mean, you know, you're going to stop in and see us. But Brad's getting his sinkers and stuff ready. I know he left for Tennessee this morning. He's going to stay at his parents for the next couple of days.
Yeah, I'm still sick a lot, son, but I'm gonna try.
But I'll tell you what, like I say, if you do get a chance, like I said, dinner's on me. Okay?
Yeah, I'll try my best to get up there. It ain't about 3.5 hours from where I live.
Now, Monty, talk about this expo that you're going to be at.
Well, Abbott, it used to be called Catapalooza. It was a Catapalooza Expo down in Tennessee, and they switched it over. They didn't have it last year, so but this year it's called the Smoky Mountain Expo. It's a 2-day event, Friday and Saturday, long hours from like 9 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, or 8 to 8 for us vendors. But like I say, we're going to have some guard dogs set up on a couple fishing rods where the public can actually get real close to see the demonstrations. I'm going to let them set them up themselves. Have other people pull on the line just to see how the trigger works. It's going to be a good time. We're going to meet a lot of people. I know Freddie from FOA said he was going down, and a lot of the other people that is into catfish groups.
Pontoon Jody.
Yeah, Pontoon Jody. There's going to be quite a few people there.
Now, whatever you do, if you do that display, don't try it with a heavy action rod when you set off the
Well,
guard
you know what's
dog.
funny? You know what's funny, Abbott, is I've had a few people that used heavy action rods that worked fine. Some heavy action rods are different than others. You know, I mean,
I'm
some.
just saying the tension on the heavy action rod, you using a piece of cardboard.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna rip right through there like a rocket.
Yeah. Well, I've been to that last one, the cardboard 3 times before I set that circle hook on that last
Yeah,
one.
but I tell you what,
That-
you put one of the 3 times and you try that on a heavy action rod.
Yeah, that was just a medium Mad Cats is what I was using for this.
Yeah, but I'm saying you use a heavy action catfish rod like that has a real stiff backbone and no lights with a hard sensitivity hook set on it. It's gonna rip that cardboard.
Well, like I say, the biggest advantage to just using the guard dogs, I still like them as a side rod that I don't have to pay attention to, but you just can't get to a lot of rods quick enough on them real quick.
I guarantee you that you can't, but
you just can't do it.
You hook one of those things to an 18-foot super heavy action catfish rod.
Oh my gosh!
And you try to set, you do that hook set like you did on live.
I'd have to use a catalog.
You need a notebook to stop that damn thing, because that thing is going to go right through that cardboard like nothing.
Oh yeah,
like a hot knife through butter.
Oh
and it won't stop till it hits something on the other backside of the rod.
Oh yeah.
I haven't pulled that 18-foot rod.
But I would love to see. I'd love to see you set up. You can use bank rods and diddy poles, right, Alan?
Yeah.
I'd love to see you try one of them out. Can you do that, Ernest? Can you use diddy poles where you're at?
Yeah, I can use them.
See, I can't use them. They're illegal here. You can't use them up here.
I can make diddy poles and show videos on how to make them. They're simple and they're easy and they're fun. They're not hard to make, but they're fun to make.
Well, I know a lot of people tell me that the dogs trigger real good on them, and they leave them overnight. A lot of them. I know it's against the law. It has to be. It has to be.
It is, but as long as your diddy poles are marked with your information on it,
yeah,
and you come back and check them periodically, you're allowed to leave your ditty poles out.
Oh,
Gotta
you
have a date
are?
on them.
I didn't know that.
You gotta have a date on them too. If the date's over thing, people can get them, take them.
Yeah,
The date's wrong.
you have to have the date that was set out.
Is that similar
And-
to a trot line? I mean, is it the same way with a trot line?
Yeah, same way with trot lines, limb lines. You have to have all your information on there.
Yeah.
See, I've
And the
never
date
done that.
it was set. And
Somebody comes up on it, looks at it, and the date's wrong or dead or anything, they can take it out of the water.
Is that right?
yeah,
I
but
didn't
fishing
know.
game would normally be the ones that take it out of the water.
Yeah, most of the yes, usually them.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
fishing game are really good at spotting ditty poles and bank lines and tree lines and going out on the boat and checking dates and the contact information. If it's not correct, they'll remove it. Then they'll
Yeah.
come back. They'll come to your house and give you a ticket
Yeah.
and tell you why you're getting the ticket.
Mhm. They don't
Oh,
like
okay.
it too good either.
See up here, all that stuff's, you can trap, but I don't even know about trot lines. I haven't even heard of any trot lines up here.
Thanks for bringing that up. I have an idea to use a guard dog as a snare trap.
I'll tell you what, I've heard
would
that.
work. It would work.
I know it would work. But I tell you, one bad thing is it gets neck broken. It'll get tenderized when it hit the ground on the other end.
It would set it off though.
Oh, it set it off, and I tell you what. And when it did go off, that poor thing wouldn't know what the heck hit it.
Yeah, that's right. That's like that 10-foot. That's like that 10-foot pole I got now. I haven't caught one on it yet, but when it does, I probably won't even have to reel it in and probably throw it into the bank.
11-foot heavy action rod with a 40-pound braid set up with a snare loop on it, with a catfish guard dog set up to it. And as soon as that thing hits that snare, the loop and tightens it,
Yeah.
bye-bye.
You'll have to show me that video.
Yeah, but I tell you what, that critter would be flying a good 30, 40 feet in the air the other direction. I've thought about doing that. I'm like, if I did that video, I'd have to use a stuffed animal on it.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Well, I'm gonna bounce out of here, guys.
Yeah,
All
I'm gonna have to head too, guys.
And
Hey, River, I'm praying for you, brother.
yeah, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for
I
coming
appreciate
up.
it, guys.
Thank you.
I'm getting
Thanks for
better.
watching this.
Gray Wolf Outdoors said, as soon as I can afford it, I'll order some cat claws and a couple guard dogs. Awesome, Gray Wolf.
Gray
Sounds
Wolf
good.
already has one in his cart, and he's waiting to try it out.
You can't go wrong, I'll tell you that.
But
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Monty, for
Later,
coming up.
guys.
Take it
Hey,
easy,
have a-
River Rat.
Cat Claus, thank you for coming up.
Yep,
River Rats.
no problem.
I enjoyed it, brother. I
Oh,
enjoyed
it's
it.
great. I'm just glad that Cat Claus came in and when he did, because you guys both make awesome equipment.
Well, and Adam and me, of course, he's like my little brother. We talk a lot, and of course, you don't get no better gentleman than Adam.
No.
If
Appreciate
anybody
it.
out there,
I've seen,
knows him, if
I've seen
anybody
Adam's
knows him,
last live when he's building the Cat Claus from scratch.
yeah.
And
Well,
that's
you don't see too many that's fully welded. I mean, they ain't spot welded. I mean, fully welded. Rob.
I watched his live where he's doing the giveaway and he's building that rod holder, and I tell you what, that took a lot of time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just using the 110 outlet at that point, but I mean, I can still do that in that, but now that I got the 220 hooked up to the welder, it goes a little faster. I mean, I was taking my time doing it, and I've done it for 2 years now, so I can weld them pretty quick, but it does take time, and once I get them done, then I clean them all up too, so there's a lot of time, but that's why the price is kind of where it's at. I think it's definitely worth more than what it is, but
how long does it take you to build one of them?
well, first you got to cut all the rod up. So you got to get all the lengths cut out, and then it's got to get formed. And there's like 4 different processes of forming that or steps to that. And then once that's done, then it's just the stuff that you saw when I was welding it up. So, I mean, I never really timed out much of it. I mean, I can weld one in like 4 minutes if I'm, working really hard at it. But usually, I take my time and just make sure everything's correct. And I haven't messed up one yet. So,
Curtis, from everything that I've seen and hear, of course, river rat catches more fish than I do because he's in an area that he's got some good fish and he fishes all the time. But he's telling me that he's hooking up about 85% of the time. You're going to have sometimes, of course, a fish is going to grab the bait, not have the hook in its mouth. It's not going to be 100%, but it will up your odds from that 50 to 60 up to that, 80. It's just an advantage.
I'd say close to between 80 to 90%.
Yeah, if they've got the hook in the mouth and they pull that line, believe me, it's going to set that hook.
Like 2 nights ago when I was fishing, I missed like 2 fish, but I could tell right away that, the guard dog was set at medium and, they're just little catfish, pulling at the bait and they can't even set up the hook. They're just small ones, and then it'd finally pop, and you could just reel up, and they got the bait off of it.
Right.
Last night I caught 3. I was 3 for 3, so it was 100%. Last night I caught 3 on there, channels on it. But it all depends on your hook sizes. You got to make sure you have the right equipment for what you're trying to catch, as well as
right.
just hucking out a huge hook and
the right gear, the right hooks, and hoping the right size fish comes along to set it off.
Well, that's the reason I say if you set it as light as you can with the river currents, those smaller fish are going to trigger. They are going to trigger it. If the hook is small enough to go in that fish's mouth, if you ain't got too big a hook, or if it ain't just got the bait. Again, it's just physics. It has to work. There's no way it can't work. Because when pressure's applied, it trips and it swings. But it's not going to be 100%, of course.
I caught a channel the other night. It was maybe 12 inches, and I had mine set at medium. It couldn't even pull it. I thought it was just playing with it. Well, it was on for like an hour, and I finally reel in the pole, and then it was hooked right through the mouth. Yeah, it was a size 6 circle hook. It couldn't, obviously got hooked up when it pulled it, but yeah, I couldn't even set off the guard dog. But I usually I keep mine at mediums just because I want that extra pull on there.
Right.
Welcome in, Ashley. We're just getting ready to end this live. And then
Hey,
we're answering
Ashley.
a couple last questions.
What's up, Ashley?
Thanks for coming in, hon.
Curtis, Dink was telling Curtis, once you get the feel of the setup, it would definitely up your hookup ratio percentage wise. I wouldn't know that, but it does help for sure. It does help for sure because I tried it once on trout and I ended up having trout that is 5 feet off the bank get body slammed on the pavement behind the rod. And that was weird watching a flying fish go through the air.
Oakley, you saw the video. Oakley, he caught 6 channels, 6 in a row on the guard dogs. He was 6 for 6 that day with the guard dogs. They were flawless for him.
Yeah, but I didn't think that guard dog was going to take a 5.5 pound trout,
just
out of
toss
the
it.
water and just body slamming on the pavement behind the rod.
Was you fishing with a heavy rod, Avid?
No, it's a medium action rod.
Well, I'll be darned.
And the fish was only 5 feet off the bank.
Oh.
Well, you had some dinner, did you?
Yeah,
I
don't get out anyway, but
Hey,
you killed them humanely.
One little tip that I'll let you guys know, and you guys that have used them for a while already know. But as a fish is swimming and that guard dog trips, it'll turn the fish a lot of times the opposite direction, and you'll think you missed it because it actually swung him around and he's swimming towards you now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
yeah.
a lot of times, if you see that guard dog trip, and all of a sudden that line, your pole's just standing there, man, reel in, because more than likely that fish is hooked and just running towards you.
Well,
Channels will do that a lot too.
I
Yeah,
was
they
trying it
will.
out for trout, and I wasn't thinking of the distance I put that rod, the bait.
Yeah.
And a good medium action rod on a good bend with that thing, and a medium hook set, because I know how those trout are. They like to hit and run. And he hit it. That guard dog went off, and all of a sudden I seen this little silver thing flying through the air. I'm like, okay, that was too close to the bank. I don't need the guard dog that close.
Well, Randy Cura, of course, he trout fishes a lot. He catches a lot of those little stalker, fish when he's ice fishing and stuff like that with the guard dog. But he, like I say, he's sort of a multi-species type fisherman out there in Colorado. He's catching walleyes and stripers and this and that and everything else. But yeah, it'll hook up on just about. I was telling him, Adam, about your little bluegill rod you set up with the guard dogs that day. Remember, you caught a couple, but you couldn't hardly get your dogs set up before they hit.
Huck it, and I'd be like scrambling, get the thing up there, and then by the time I got it, half the time the bluegills are running at me with the.
Could you imagine me?
It was a mess, but it was fun. It worked
Monty,
sometimes.
Could you imagine me setting that guard dog up on a bobber for bluegills?
You know what? You could actually do it. You could actually,
but
as long as
I'm fishing with them.
As long as they wasn't hitting as fast as what Adams was. His bait hit the water and they was hitting it. I mean, they was just hitting it.
But see, the only bad thing is about that, bluegills only maybe like anywhere from a foot to 20 inches from the bank.
Yeah.
Then we'd have green torpedoes flying over the rod.
No, Avid, use it. You just use an ultralight.
Yeah, that's what I was using.
Use an ultralight. Man, they're fun with an ultralight.
Yeah, but I tell you what, but still seeing those fish flying up out of the water would be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, good video to make.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? Clack call rod holders with a guard dog catching bluegills.
Oh yeah.
Hands free
action rod.
Oh yeah.
How many will go back in? How many will survive? That would be a video that'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah. Well, brother, I'll tell you what, it's been a great evening. I appreciate the invitation. I really do. We've been planning to get together for a long time. I just, like I say, of course,
we got to do this again with both of you guys on the show for a longer period of time. And
it was a good time. It was a real good time.
This is great. But I know Cat Claus was on vacation, so I couldn't get a hold of him.
I lost my phone. My phone fell in the water last night after my wife caught her PB flathead. We were so excited.
Cat Claus, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you doing a Fields to Water trick?
A what?
Giving the fish Fields to water? Donating your phone to the fish so they can.
Oh yeah. It was in my sweatshirt pocket, and I tying up the boat. We're all excited, and all of a sudden I hear bloop bloops. I'm like, uh-oh. And I realized it was my phone, and then
did you recover?
I tried. I tried for about an hour.
You're the second fisherman I know that has given fish a cell phone to talk to other people with.
Yeah. Well, there's a snapping turtle down there as well, and I could hear him all night gargling underneath the pier. I'm like, oh, he's probably making phone calls now.
Oh, he's trying to get a hold of somebody on your list.
Yeah. Well, I got it deactivated now, just in case it does get recovered. But
yeah. But
it happens.
Thank you all for coming up here and sharing your information. And we will do this again later on.
For sure.
Sounds
and I'm going to try to get River Rats up here as a guest because he's a man with a load of information to share out.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And with that being said,
it was fun, guys.
What are you guys' final thoughts?
Well, I tell you, first of all, for me, I want to thank again. I couldn't see the chat tonight, but I want to thank everybody that did come in and at least say hello and contribute a little bit. Again, my final thoughts is it's like anything else. Until you actually try something, you ain't going to know if you like it or if it fits or works for you or works at all. But I think if you gave Guard Dog and Cat Claws a look and gave them a good effort, I think you'd enjoy them. I just think you'd really enjoy them. But I just want to say thanks, Avid. Thanks again for the invite.
You're welcome.
Yep.
You both.
Thanks for putting me on here as well. I can't say enough for the people that support me. It's been a blessing. I might never get big, and I'm happy just where I'm at as it is. And I appreciate everybody that's been, giving the good word out to me, and appreciate having let me get on here and talking with you guys. And I'm just blessed to have that.
We will have you as a guest here as one of these weeks. We'll have
let me know.
As a guest.
Let me know. Yeah, I'm down whenever.
And because we want to get to know you like we did Monty tonight.
Yeah.
And everybody always wants to get to know people that have good gear and good equipment.
I know like a lot of people want to know about the cat claws and stuff like that, but I want to do some lives, where I'm just, chat about fishing more instead of, the business life and, how that's going. I love nobody really knows much about my fishing. And I mean, there's people that do, but if I had a choice, I'd be fishing over building cat claws.
Hey,
what's that?
We will talk about that.
Yeah.
That'll be part of the show.
But yeah, it's,
Monty found out tonight, we went all the way back from the beginning on him all the way up to now. We will do that the same with you.
For sure.
We'll get to know you like we got to know Monty tonight.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I look forward to it.
That's what this show is about, is helping smaller channels and people with great tackle like you guys out and help you get more people made aware of what you got.
And I appreciate that. I mean, for me, it just, I just like building some friends. I mean, if I don't sell anything, it's not a big problem to me. I just, the people I've met like you guys, and it just, I consider you guys great friends, and it's awesome to have that just in general, aside of everything else. So
we've really got a pretty good. I mean, we've got a great fishing family. Most of us got a good fishing.
We have a great fishing family, and they're always looking into helping support people with great gear and great tackle.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
And with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go spend time with your families before you go to bed for work tomorrow, whatever you do. And have a tight lines and good night. And let's everybody in chat, please keep river rats in our thoughts and prayers.
And KP.
Let's take down catfishing Kenneth Powell in the thoughts and prayers and his daughter, because they're both going through a lot.
They sure are.
And if you want to keep any updates on KP, go over to Hogleg's channel, and they will keep you up with the updates.
Sounds good, brother.
Thank you, and good night.
God bless.
Take it easy, guys.